Yeah, aren't you sick of talking to people and going outside?
Yeah.
Well, we have your escape.
Yeah, here you go. You love this now.
Yeah, hey, remember that truck you had? What if we just made it a big cube and called it a Cybertruck?
Yeah. What if
We fixed it.
Aren't you sick of your brain having its own thoughts? Wouldn't you rather just have a chip in there that does all your thoughts for you?
Yeah. On today's Part of My Take, we have a twofer for the people. Great sports weekend. We have our good friend Peter Schrager on the show to break down the 2024 NFL Draft winners, losers, stories from Detroit. We also have our good friend Alex Caruso in studio. I know we had him on 3 weeks ago, but this time we have him on talking NBA playoff basketball. He gives us some great insight into how these series are going, tells us how we're stupid. Well, he didn't say we're stupid, but we felt stupid with some of the things he told us and taught us about basketball. We're going to talk some NBA playoffs. We're going to recap the draft. We got Who's Back of the Week. It's going to be a great Monday show for everyone. And guess what? It's Kentucky Derby week. So are you ready for the greatest 2 minutes in sports? Saddle up with DK Horse, an official DraftKings affiliate. Right now, new customers who download the DK Horse app can get a 100% deposit bonus up to $250. Just deposit $25 or more and complete the playthrough requirement. Wager on your favorite horses, then watch the races at Churchill Downs live right in the app. DraftKings has you covered with a one-stop shop for all things horse racing. We will have Randy Moss on for Friday. He's going to give us some winners. Go take those, and let's go to the DraftKings Horse app. So let's go check it out. Great week. Triple Crown starting. Spring is here. Download the DK Horse now to join the Run for the Roses action. New customers get a 100% deposit bonus up to $250 when they opt in with the code TAKE only on the DK Horse app. Go check it out now on the DK Horse app. It is a great sports week ahead of us with the Kentucky Derby and the Oaks on Friday. Okay, let's go. Welcome to Part of My Take, presented by DraftKings. Download DK Horse now to join the Run for the Roses action. This week is Kentucky Derby week. New customers get a 100% deposit bonus up to $250 when they opt in with code TAKE only on the DK Horse app. Today is Monday, April 29th, and the city of Philadelphia is dead.
Is Philadelphia a bad sports town? It's time to have the conversation.
These are the questions. I know that Max was hoping we didn't do this to start, but I would say it's the biggest story. We're going to talk about the draft. We're going to recap the draft. We're going to talk about every NBA and NHL playoff series. But the big story was on Sunday afternoon, the New York Knicks took a commanding 3-1 lead behind a brilliant performance from Jalen Brunson, and the city of Philadelphia was completely cucked by New York Knicks fans who were so loud.
Very loud.
So loud.
Very loud. They were cheering for Sixers missed free throws.
Yeah.
They were cheering every time the Knicks made a shot. I guess we can talk about it a lot, but I feel like we should go to our Philly sports guy to get his perspective on it. Hank, what did you think about the Knicks showing up in the building more than the Sixers fans did?
Yeah, I mean, the Knicks are a passionate sports town, passionate group of people. They showed up and they made their voices known. They put the jersey on Wilt's statue.
Yeah, covered the whole thing up. Couldn't see it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that's usually something that, and if it's a good sports town, that comes to blows or people fight back or, the Knicks fans aren't even able to get in because it's a home game for Philly. But
defend the statue, yeah.
Yeah, and Brunson was awesome. He was awesome.
They were just diving all over the place. Josh Hart had a hilarious stat line. He had 45 minutes. He had 4 points, I believe, on 4 free throws.
Yep.
And 17 rebounds.
17 rebounds. All hustle from, the Knicks supporting cast. They just out-rebounded the hell out of the Sixers. That fourth quarter, this series is awesome because it does feel old-school basketball vibes.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of a fist fight on a basketball court. But yeah, the Knicks had 15 offensive rebounds to Sixers 9. They wanted it more.
There were a few possessions where they were getting third, fourth looks, and it felt like there was nothing that you could do. Hank, I have a follow-up question for you as a big Philly sports fan. When Embiid had that wide-open look at the end of the game and he decided not to take the shot and then dribbled towards the basket, did that give you flashbacks?
Excuse me, you said he didn't take the shot. Did he end up taking the shot in that possession or no?
He drove clumsily to the hole and did not dunk it. And
did he
tried
take the
to
shot?
reverse
You said
a
he didn't
clumsy
take the
reverse.
shot.
He did not. No, he did not take the shot. The wide open.
Who
shot
took the
that he
shot
had.
in that possession?
He did not take the wide open shot that he had.
Hank.
But as a Philly sports fan, did that give you flashbacks of Ben Simmons and rim protector Trae Young?
Yeah, I mean, this team needs a major shakeup. There's a lot of big changes happening to the Philadelphia 76ers this offseason.
What about the fact that Embiid, who has played great in this series, even though he continues stepping on people, throwing shoulders into people's faces.
Not great at boxing out either.
Not great at
He
boxing
has Bell's
out.
palsy, guys.
He scored 1 point in the fourth quarter. Kind of ran out of gas.
Yeah.
And it's tough when you every year run out of gas.
And are made of glass.
Mm-hmm. So what about at the very end of the game? Kyle Lowry taking those foul shots, misses a shot intentionally, but didn't communicate to his teammates that he was going to try to miss intentionally to get a rebound.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that might be coaching. At the end of game one, they decided not to foul when it was still, reasonable that they could have made a comeback. Again, these end-of-game situations, you think that they're things that you go over in practice, and it's just you don't even have to communicate because you run end-of-game situations. If we're down by this many, much time on the clock,
you're right.
You missed the free throw, this is what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's not something a player should have to say. That's something that the coaches should have communicated, throughout the whole year. The playoffs, you coach for these exact situations.
That's true.
That's a fair point.
So for your team to not be on the same page, how does that happen?
Are they dead? Are they done?
Yeah, oh yeah.
They could fire the coach because he's been there for a long time.
Has he?
Oh, wait, no.
No, Nick Nurse just got there.
Shit. Damn. Tobias Harris is going to be gone. That's the big fix.
That's a good spin zone.
Tobias Harris is going to be gone. Max, did you watch the game at all?
Yeah, I happened to turn it on.
Yeah, and what were your thoughts? Your Nova guys, I mean, Jalen Brunson was incredible.
Yeah, Brunson
He's
was
so
really
good.
He had 47 points on 34 shots.
He's been great all series.
Wait, why did you include the 34 shots in there?
Because
Yeah.
if Joel Embiid did that, that's the only thing that people would be talking about.
Is that-
But he shot the ball 34 times. Did he shoot above or below 50% from the field?
I think it was barely above 50%.
Barely above. It was above 50%. Yeah.
Joel Embiid is scoring 35 points a game, 45% from the field, and a plus 34 when he's on the court. Jalen Brunson is scoring 33 points a game, 40% from the field, and is a -3 when he's on the court.
Okay.
And the difference that the people are talking about Jalen Brunson and Joel Embiid is absolutely insane.
Okay, but saying 34 shots felt like an insult there.
It was an insult.
He went 18 for 34. He also had 10 assists. So
Okay.
it's not like he was just ball hogging and being like, I'm going to shoot the whole time.
Yeah.
And 2 turnovers, which is pretty incredible
Yeah,
considering
no,
the
he
fact
had a really good game. But everyone acting like that Jalen Brunson is the next big thing, and Joel Embiid is shit. Joel Embiid is having a better series than Jalen Brunson.
I would
and
say, with the exception of the fourth quarter.
He has the fourth quarter today, correct? Yeah. The fourth quarter today, correct. Jalen Brunson was very good. Joel Embiid ran out of gas. I do not think it was a good decision by Nurse to leave him out on the court for the entire second half. He's not ready for that right now. And you could just obviously tell he ran out of gas. But, like, I hate that it's now, Embiid fucking choking again in the playoffs when he's averaging 35 points a game.
Yeah,
he had 50 points last game.
Okay,
By the way,
I've been very impressed with Embiid throughout this playoffs, with the exception of the fourth quarter, where he was completely out of gas.
And I'm very down to say that. Like,
by the way, that was the first time a player's ever taken 34 shots and had a 40 and 10.
Pretty impressive.
Anytime
Brunson,
anyone takes more than 34 shots, usually doesn't have a 40 and 10.
Yeah,
it's actually never
Brunson.
happened.
Yeah, Brunson had a very, very good game.
That's why the 10
But he's
is
also
important.
had bad runs in this stretch too.
He picked them up.
But everyone's his supporting guys picked him up. No one picked up Embiid today when he had a bad stretch.
Yeah. So is it over?
Yeah, it's over.
And what's the fix? Yeah, wow.
I mean, you just don't have.
Hank just delivered a soft.
You got
What about the series of the year?
series of the year.
rebounding, 40 points. They have 40 extra second chance points in this series.
I've been very impressed with the Knicks.
They just rebound.
They just are dogs.
We can't they are dogs. It's just that they want it more. The Sixers are better basketball players. They are a better basketball team.
Does the same go for the fans?
Yes, fans were a joke today.
Yeah.
Everything that Joel Embiid said is 100% correct. You can't let that happen. It's very disappointing.
It might be the crowd of the year at the closeout game for the Knicks.
Yeah.
This next game at the Garden, that place is going to be buzzing.
Yeah.
Honestly, might be the crowd of the year at the closeout game if the Sixers win the next game.
True.
Yeah.
I'm already worried about that.
Would you, not to Mark Wahlberg it, but if you were there, would it have gone down differently?
Oh, yeah. I would have beat the shit out of those guys.
That's my guy.
There were things I was watching videos today. I'm like, where's the Philly rep that you don't come into our town without getting a punch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dude was flipping people off after the game, just in a
Yeah.
crowd of Sixers fans, and they were just sitting there taking it.
They owned you.
The one time you guys did show up was when there was a loose ball, and I think it was Maxey hit the ground, good hustle play, and you had everybody on the sideline calling timeout.
Yeah.
Like every fan stood up, and they're like, timeout, timeout.
You got the timeout.
And the refs gave it to the fans.
Yeah.
Made an impact play.
But this was a bad day for Philly.
Yeah, for sure. Very bad sports town today.
Oh, today. All right, good job putting in today. Because, and maybe it's just Knicks fans are so crazy, which they are. Like, it's been so long since the Knicks have been good.
That's the other thing. Like, this is, like, the first time that the Knicks, like, actually have a shot at making a run. And the Sixers have been so disappointing year after year after year that there's obviously a difference.
Making the playoffs.
Yeah.
There's obviously a difference of excitement in between fan bases right now. And you can tell. I mean, you can just tell.
It got to the point where during foul shots, I thought it seemed like every shot that the Sixers were taking was for free chicken.
Yeah.
Because they would miss and the crowd would go crazy.
Yeah, the every single time Brunson touched the ball, the MVP chance.
That could have been that could have been the Sixers Twitter guy, though.
Yeah.
Is the process a failure?
No, I mean no. You get Tobias Harris off the books. Hopefully, you can bring in role players next year.
Did you guys go? Did the process get you to the Eastern Conference Final?
Joel Embiid is still there. Tyrese Maxey is still there. You still have two stars on the team. If you can build a team and not put $200 million into a guy that can't get you 10 points in a playoff game, then you have some room to work with.
What about
Again,
coaching?
I think we're talking about the not the process. We're talking about the results of the process when we should be focused on the process of the process.
True.
And the fact is the process of the process worked, and they got a bunch of good draft picks.
Yeah.
We're just results guys now. All of a sudden, we're judging the process.
And the process doesn't actually. You can't judge the process until like Joel Embiid retires.
Yes.
Actually, you can never judge the process.
Joel Embiid is still a top player in this game. Like
When he has his gas. When he has his gas.
Yeah. He ran out of gas.
He runs out of gas every year.
But like that was the problem because as soon as in the first half, as soon as we were up 10, he comes off the court. 3 minutes go by, the Knicks tie it up. Like you have to be able to weather the storm without your best player being on the court.
Yeah.
Like Joel Embiid, when he's on the court, like the Sixers are the better team when he's on the court.
Yeah.
You need a guard that can get his own shot, score a bunch of points.
That's not what I said.
Mm-hmm.
Make shots, big threes.
Like 12 for 17 in a game.
Be reliable in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You need one of those. Okay, so Sixers are dead. That's official. Max is burying them.
Have we already started the conversation, Max, about Josh spending too much time on the Commanders, not enough time on the Sixers?
I don't care about your stupid football team.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, that's fair.
I've had that conversation.
That's fair. Hank, cocky Hank.
Nope.
Is he back?
No.
He even said after the Celtics beat down the Heat, 2 more games exactly like that and move on. It's a Magic Johnson tweet. Our boy has been lobotomized. He doesn't have any he's like a robot watching these games now.
And move on.
2 more games exactly like that and move on.
Just forget about the Heat. Get it over with.
Are you not going to be excited about any games they play until the finals?
I'm excited about every game.
Yeah, you guys.
But just the next game.
That was good though. You're back. That's why we were upset that Cocky Hank was retired because that was, I think I said it when we were talking about it on Thursday. Like you're going to 20-piece the Heat on Saturday.
But that was just on Saturday. We're focused on Monday. We got to do it again Monday. Do it again Wednesday or Thursday. And just move on. Don't 20-piece.
20-piece every time. 20-piece
If,
nugget.
if you were to rank every player in the series, how far down would you have to go to get to the first Heat player?
Bam's pretty good.
Yeah, probably 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Bam's pretty
Would you put KP above him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, you would? Okay.
Yeah.
What about coaching?
No, coaching's probably a toss-up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Probably a toss-up. I mean, we're Missoula guys now, so we got to say that. Shout
If it
out.
was if they were playing like on the court, Missoula all day.
That's true.
Yeah, good point.
That's a really good
He's
point.
been there.
That's a good point. If they were inside of a batting cage and one of them had to get out with their life, I'm taking Missoula all day.
Yep.
Alpha male challenge. Okay, other games. The Lakers have beaten the Nuggets in a game. We should clarify.
4 quarters.
In a game.
4 quarters
In a
of the game. The whole game.
And Hank's wish might be coming true because Jamal Murray is questionable for Monday night's game.
He's got
So
calf,
all
yeah.
his wishing that the Nuggets get injured. If you're a Nuggets fan, blame Hank.
I wish, for the record, the opposite. I
Right,
want
but
all the
whenever
stars to
someone
play.
says I don't root for injuries, they're rooting for injuries.
I mean, you said that a million times on the show.
And every time I've been rooting for injuries.
That's fucked up.
So there we go.
Yeah. In this game, I don't know about you, but it definitely felt like this game was not over until the last minute and a half of the game.
Yeah.
Even though it was never really that close. Like they got to 8 points at one point,
Yeah.
I think. But it was just like the clock ticking, and the Lakers are still up somewhere in the 10 to 17 point range, and the announcers just kept saying not over. They still got to
Not
weather the
over.
big comeback that's coming. So you felt like the big comeback was going to happen until it didn't, until
Yeah.
the game was totally over. And LeBron James was fucking awesome again.
Yeah. And,
And-
Anthony Davis, I love that Anthony Davis is playing with, hey, we're not going to win this series, but you motherfuckers can't blame me energy every single night because he had 25 and 23 rebounds. He's making sure that whatever blame pie goes around, it's not on AD.
So one thing that they touched on, the announcers brought this up, and I went and I looked it up because it is very impressive. There are now, I believe, 6 players to play 21 seasons in the NBA. It's Vince, Kevin Garnett, Dirk, Robert Parrish, Kevin Will, LeBron. They've each played 21 seasons. LeBron in his 21st season has more points than all the other guys combined in their 21st season.
Whoa.
Pretty crazy.
That is crazy.
We don't think about what LeBron's doing right now in proper context, I don't think, because we've just seen LeBron be awesome for his entire career. But the fact that he's 39 and doing this, and him and AD are putting the Lakers on their backs and being like, we're not going to get swept. And they have been competitive. If you look at the time with a lead in this series, it is crazy.
They're winning the series.
The Lakers are dominating the series.
Yeah.
But the Nuggets have just won more games.
No, I mean,
And the Nuggets are a problem. They're still very good, and I expect the Nuggets to win in the next game and close it out at home. But still, even though we are going to take a lot of pleasure in LeBron getting bounced from the first round of the playoffs, as we should, I think we've earned that right
yeah.
as LeBron haters. It is pretty fucking impressive what he's doing.
I said it last week when I think it was game 1 or 2 when he had that Jamal Murray block and it looked exactly like the splitter block 10 years ago and it put everything into perspective. We're like, holy fuck. Yeah, he's not the same LeBron that was the peak LeBron who was the best player in the world, but even still he's playing 39, 40, 42 minutes a night and putting up insane numbers, and he is old.
Yeah.
Oh, breaking news.
This is breaking news for me coming across my timeline.
Breaking what?
Breaking moves.
Okay.
for me.
OJ's dead?
Joel Embiid is the 4th player in the last 25 postseasons with multiple games in the same series shooting 0-5 or worse in the 4th quarter.
Oh. Run out of gas.
He has Bell's palsy.
Yeah, he's a hybrid. He's a hybrid.
We're
car.
on to the next game. What are we doing here? That's
It
not
was
that's not breaking
news
news.
to him. To him, he
Got to
said.
plug him back in.
Yeah. That's tough. He's the anti-LeBron.
Yeah, well, we can get back to LeBron hate. We sucked his dick for long enough, I think. He only won because they stole their shoes for the pregame warm-up.
Yeah. And also, his temper tantrum at Darvin Ham was so funny. He looked like a 5-year-old not getting their candy bar.
Yeah, he just stood there for it felt like 10 seconds.
Not
just
stand.
Screaming at him.
Stomped.
Well, stomping at him. He was stomping at him even when the ball was going the other way.
Yes.
And he was just continuing to yell at his coach. That was great. For that reason, I wish they had lost that game, the one where he flipped out on his own coach.
Yeah.
Regrettably, they won that one, so we won't get to remember that as well we should. But you know what? I was kind of happy to see the Lakers get one.
Yeah, because they needed – I mean, it had gotten so ridiculous the way they were losing and the way the Nuggets continued to snatch their soul to go out and fighting and win one was big.
The gentleman's sweep, maybe.
Yeah. Who's not going out and fighting is the Pelicans. They're done.
Yep.
They're cooked. The Thunder are for real. They've been dominating. The first game was close, but since then they've emasculated the Pelicans, and now we have Charles Barkley with all-time rants. He said that the Pelicans are so bad they shouldn't go to Cancun. They should go to Galveston. And then he followed it up the next day. Shaq did a really good job of I love Charles Barkley so much, of just getting him to double down because he found out that Beyonce's from Galveston.
Yep.
So he's like, I don't want the Bayhive after me. And so he apologized. And then I think Shaq said, like, are you going to go to Galveston? He said, the water's so dirty, I'd rather go to San Antonio with those big old women.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said that San Antonio, you know about Victoria's Secret, it's a secret to them because they're too big. So he basically took one shot at Galveston, apologized, and then took another shot at Galveston and then added in San Antonio. And it was one of the funniest TV moments.
I think he said, like, I'd rather go down to the Riverwalk and watch the big old women. Big old women. It shouldn't be a river. It should be a river treadmill down there.
Yeah.
There's big old women. He's right about Galveston, by the way.
Yeah.
And we're going to get into that with Caruso in a little bit. But Charles, don't let Shaq, don't let the Bayhive, don't let Jay-Z talk you out of what's right. Stand up for yourself. Galveston is a weird fucking beach.
Yeah.
You don't want to go there.
Yeah. So, and then also on Saturday, we had the Magic tying the series 2-2. The Magic's defense is so goddamn good. I don't think I've seen this in an NBA like playoff game in a long time where the Cavs went to start the third quarter all the way to garbage time with 4 minutes left. The Cleveland Cavaliers scored 18 points.
Yeah, it was painful.
18
It was very
points.
painful for that Cavs offense. I like the Magic. I think they're a good young team.
They play just great defense.
They're not going to do much this year. They might win this series. They're going to make it competitive. I bet on them to win the series. I hope they win the series. But I feel like next 2-3 years they might be making some noise.
This would be pretty tragic if the Cavs can't win this series because Dan Gilbert's never won a series without LeBron James.
Yeah, that's a fact.
And he's the one who said they were going to win a championship without LeBron James.
Yeah.
And it does feel like the Cavs are at a crossroad where they keep adding people, adding players, adding draft picks, and it's like they should have something to show for it. And if the Magic, the upstart Magic, who have it's just such a funny when you have two teams like the Magic. If they lose this series, future's bright.
Yeah.
If the Cavs lose this series, it's like what the fuck?
Well,
we just can't win series
because the Cavs used to be the Magic, where
right.
they're a fun young team, and at some point, if you're a fun young team and you don't win, you just age into being mid.
Yeah. So there's a lot at stake there. 2-2 series, and then Sunday. So we talked about the Sixers-Knicks game. If you aren't watching the NBA playoffs, I understand some people are like, oh, fuck the NBA. We don't want to watch the NBA. That Mavericks-Clippers game, especially the fourth quarter, was such awesome playoff basketball when Kyrie, like the Mavericks were down 20 in the first half, but when Kyrie and James Harden were just going shot for shot, and James Harden was insane, and Paul George, playoff P, that three-pointer he made at the end of the shot clock in the corner where he a step back, incredible shot to make. That was what playoff basketball should be. Those two teams, they find a way. I know Kawhi was out again, which was actually good for the Clippers because he was so bad on Friday.
Yeah, they moved the ball.
Yeah, and he just looks injured. But that game was so much fun to watch. And like Kyrie, when Kyrie gets going and he just starts making just like insane shot after insane shot, it's so much fun to watch.
There was one layup he had today that I think it was like a triple pump fake.
Yeah,
he was in the
clutched
air.
It, yeah.
He clutched it like 3 times. And made the layup, and he wasn't surprised that he made it.
No.
And I was actually not shocked at all that went in because I've seen Kyrie do that. Within 8 feet of the basket, Kyrie is a fucking magician.
Yeah.
And always has been. But it was great basketball to watch. You're right. It was a lot of fun down the stretch. And I kept thinking like this would be an all-time collapse by the Clippers, but then the Clippers just kept playing great basketball and offense and holding them off, and it ended up just being a great game on both sides.
Yeah. It was so much fun. And then the other
Ballmer in the front row.
Yeah.
Loving it, living it up.
Cuban, who he doesn't own the team, but he still gets all the camera time.
Is he involved with the team?
I think he still is, but he can be fired at any moment. I still don't really understand that entire.
He gave up his ownership?
Yeah.
So he's like owner, was it?
But they kept him employed?
Emeritus?
Yeah. I think they were just like, yeah, you can just keep your seats and tell people that you own the team.
Yeah, you've been around for. They probably just kept him there to yell at the refs.
Yeah, Yeah, probably.
Do your work, Cubes.
And then the Pacers and Bucks. The Bucks are going out sad.
Well,
And I know
very
Bucks
injured.
fans, they're very injured. Dame was out this game. Bobby Portis got ejected. Chris Middleton's hurt. Giannis has not played yet. I understand if you're a Bucks fan, you're like, this is bullshit, our injuries. Injuries happen, and injuries bounce your way, and sometimes they don't. Because I just want to remind everyone that when Kevin Durant almost single-handedly beat the Bucks their championship season, James Harden and Kyrie Irving were hurt. So they happen. They happen in sports. Jason, what was that, Game 7? I know you guys lost by $1 billion, but Jason Tatum rolled his ankle on the first play of Game 7. It sucks. I understand being very bummed out about it, but you can't, sometimes they go your way, sometimes they don't.
Yeah, they're really not going their way this time.
But they really didn't go, they really went their way when they won a title. And I never apologize for a title. I'm not taking away the Bucks title, but you also can't then, you can't just ignore the injuries that happen when you win a title and then be like, the Pacers stink. They're just getting lucky because we're injured.
It also makes it very hard for the Bucks to figure out what they have to do this offseason. The fact that their main guys aren't showing up at 100% in the playoffs, how do you evaluate that going into next year?
Yeah, I don't know.
Are you honest with yourself and you say, the team wasn't really clicking that well to begin with?
Yeah.
I don't know. Or do you say, let's
Doc will fix it?
Yeah, let the doc take a look at it.
That Tyrese Halliburton game winner on Friday, that was the weirdest.
Crazy ending.
Started at 4:30 in Central Time. It was very bizarre to have a game I was watching overtime and it was still very light out.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tyrese Halliburton, incredible finish, incredible game. Yeah, Chris Middleton I thought he was going to hit 3 in a row. He had 2 insane 3-pointers to keep the game extended. But yeah, the Pacers are fun. They're a fun young team, and I like watching them run up and down the court.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that game was one of the best ones of the playoffs so far.
Yeah.
Double overtime. Incredible. But it was weird. Hank and I walked in the studio, and we're like, this game's not live, is it?
Yeah.
Because it was in the first quarter. We're like, there's no chance this game's on right now.
Yeah.
It's like a replay.
Yeah, it was very bizarre. Triple header, I guess. All right, so we'll talk about the Suns-Wolves when it finishes. There's 8 minutes left in the game. The Wolves are trying to sweep the Suns. Hank, you're up 3-1 on the Leafs. Poor Leafs.
Swayman, 3-0.
And the Leafs are melting down. We're going to have
Leafs.
Biz or Whitney on Friday to talk some hockey. They're melting down.
Probably be all Bruins fans game 5. Or I guess game 6 if it goes back to Toronto. But yeah, they're the Philly of the NHL. Stacked team. Can't get out of the first round.
Process. It's a bummer.
Sad.
The Leafs.
It is sad for a historic franchise like the Leafs.
PFT, your team now technically is eliminated.
Technically, we are. Today, they actually didn't follow one of my keys to the game.
Okay.
So this game shouldn't count. Ovi didn't get a shot. Again, it's okay, so I can spin zone this a couple ways. Number one.
I got one for you as well after you're done.
Number one, the Capitals should get credit for the Rangers winning this series and for the Rangers turning into the juggernaut they are. Mm-hmm. Because the Rangers turned around their entire franchise a couple of years ago when Tom Wilson, in a horrifying act of violence, threw Panarin to the ground. Or was it? No, it's Zibanejad. Threw him to the ground. One of the two. Anyways, they accused him basically of attempted murder. They wrote a letter, an open letter, begging the league to suspend Tom Wilson or have him arrested. And then they fired their entire front office after that because they realized that they were a soft hockey team. Mm-hmm. Since that moment, the Rangers have turned it around. They've built themselves up into being a tougher hockey team, a more talented hockey team, a more cohesive hockey team, all directly from the fact that Tom Wilson absolutely bodied you in your own house one time. So, in a way, the Caps kind of could take credit for winning this series.
Yeah.
For building the Rangers into the juggernaut that they are right now. They were a much better team than the Caps. Ovi looked awful this entire playoff series, which is weird because he looked good at the end of the regular season, but he did not look like the Ovi that I've grown to know and love and watch over the last how many years? Came in the league in like 2004. He looked very different. So now I'm even thinking like next year, what is it going to be? Is it going to be Ovi just like running out there for power plays, hoping to get a shot from his office where he can still snipe it in? I don't know. If this is what Alexander Ovechkin is, he might not get the goals record because like this playoff series, going multiple games without a single shot from one of the greatest goal scorers of all time, if not the greatest goal scorer of all time, was just bizarre to watch, and it was sad. And I was telling Big Cat before we taped, I just really wanted at least one more day where I could be like, I have appointment television.
Yeah,
tonight.
you got something you got to do.
Where it's like tonight, the Caps are in a playoff game. Can't wait to watch. But they're in a weird spot where they've been sellers at the trade deadline the past 2 seasons without really an opportunity of doing anything big in the playoffs. They got into the playoffs this year, even though we're in the middle of a rebuild. But it still does feel like the Caps next season is just going to be dedicated to Ovi getting the all-time scoring record.
Get it for him.
And when he's not playing that well, then it's like, well, what are we doing as a hockey team? So obviously Ovi's going to be back next year. I hope that he's not. I hope that it's not something that's wrong with him. I hope that just maybe it was a long season that ended up getting the best of him. But he looked fucking awful.
Yeah.
Awful this entire series. And we got our asses kicked. It got to a point where I was hoping that you could decline penalties in hockey.
Yeah, you said that out loud.
Yeah, I said it out loud. I know you can't decline penalties in hockey, but they got, I think in 3 out of 4 games, they got a shorthanded goal. And at least in another game, they had another goal that should have been a shorthanded goal that was just barely, they missed. I forget what it was, maybe off the pipe or something. But the power play sucked. Everything sucked. A couple young guys stepped up a little bit. All in all, the haters were right about the Capitals.
So I got a spin zone for you.
Okay.
I have a rule, hard and fast rule when it comes to the playoffs. If you get eliminated within a single week, it never really happened. That's the beauty of it. That was so fast. It was 7 days.
Yeah.
In and out. No one's going to remember you're in the playoffs, which is probably for the better.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like, it doesn't, you didn't even, people, like, that'd be a trivia question. Who was the ace seed in the 2024 play? No one will know.
No one knows.
Yeah, it happened so fast.
I didn't even get a chance to get excited by it, by anything in this series.
Right. It was over before you were the.
Oh, you're 1-0 in the first game, right?
Were we?
No.
No, I don't think.
No,
so.
I think we were down. I think it was 0-0.
They were down like the whole time.
It was 0-0 after one period.
Yeah.
We were tied. We were tied in the first game.
Yeah.
We'll always have that.
It was. It was 3-0 in the first game before the Capitals scored their first goal. So they were literally just. Like I said, it was just over.
Is that true? I thought that we had 1 goal.
No, I'm looking at it right now. It was 3-0.
It was 3-0. I thought it was 3-1.
And then it was 3-1.
Oh, that's
because you scored a goal.
But that's because their 3 goals basically all happened at the same time, so I eliminated those 3 minutes from the game.
They happened very quickly. Yeah, you were the Abe Simpson, just walking in, walking out of the playoffs.
Yeah, today it was over after about, I think, 57 seconds. They scored their first goal.
Yeah, the game wasn't even on yet.
It wasn't. We didn't get it on the TV yet, and we were already down. So I feel like you never win those games.
Yeah.
If you're losing by the time you get it on.
But it just this didn't even happen.
Didn't happen.
You're good.
Didn't happen.
You're good.
I apologize to Red Wings fans. I apologize to hockey fans. You were right. You were right. The Caps probably shouldn't have been in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, but we will get Biz and or Whitney on this week to talk some more playoffs. We have to decide our period of the week.
I've got a new nominee.
I do too.
Is it the third period of the Preds Canucks?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah, it was wild. The Preds had an open netter to win the game.
Missed it by
bounced it off the pipe.
Inches, yeah.
And then 2 goals with the goalie pulled.
Yep.
For the Canucks, goes into overtime. Canucks win.
One with like 3 minutes left, and then they scored one with 8 seconds left.
Yeah, it was an awesome end to that period.
Yeah, so that I think we can just say that's period of the week.
That's my vote.
Yeah. Anyone else got any other nominees?
Any other
of the
periods
week?
you want to talk about?
Any other periods?
Hank, your Nobgen?
Yeah.
No, I mean the fourth the quarters don't count, right?
Well, the overtime you're talking about?
Or he's talking about basketball. He's trying to bring basketball.
No, it's periods of the week.
Well,
like Alex Bennett's not in this anymore.
No other periods of the week for me.
Yeah.
you could call a quarter a period. It is a period of time.
I love the end of that Clippers.
Oh, so good.
Mhm.
It was so good.
Should that be period of the week?
No, I think we got to stick with periods. That could be quarter of the week.
Okay.
That could be quarter of the week if you want that. Would you like to nominate that?
Yeah,
It
well,
doesn't sound as cool as period of the week.
No, period of the week is awesome.
Great.
maybe Max is texting when he was drunk last night. Hank, period.
Pussy.
Period.
Well, you
Yeah.
were being a pussy about the Celtics.
Yeah, that might be period of the week.
That might be
Period in between.
pussy of the week.
Yeah, Hank. Period. Pussy. Period.
Max, were you actually upset at Hank for how he was acting?
Yeah,
I was mad.
I was a little mad too. You got
No,
a good
Max
team.
gets drunk and he wants to fight me. That's pretty much it. It's like
That's
You
not
have
true.
a good team, and you one little heat loss, and you took your
I'm
ball and went
focused.
home.
I got focused.
You were literally talking about matching up against the Nuggets, then you would lose one game.
Yeah, I got ahead of myself and now I'm back on the right track. We're back on the right track.
We got ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, All right. Any other hockey to talk about? I know the Oilers and the first round has been, I don't want to say mid, but like it doesn't feel. There's been a couple good series. I think the Knights Stars series it still has a way to get, like that might go 7, but and both teams have won, or all the road teams have won. But like got a lot of 3-1s out there.
Yeah,
got a lot of 3-1s, and that's usually I want a couple game 7s. I feel like usually the NHL playoffs we get at least 1 or 2 game 7s in the first round.
I feel like the Bruins are on a heater right now.
Yeah, we have a sweep and all games, all 3-1s except the 2-1 that is the Stars Knights.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Okay, should we talk some NFL draft? We should talk some NFL draft. Recap the NFL draft. Basically Friday and Saturday. I don't know how you guys consume the weekend of the NFL draft. I essentially just wait for the Bears pick, and then I'm like, great pick, and then everything else. Like if a QB, Spencer Rattler went, everyone said that he sucked as a high schooler.
Yeah.
Bad demeanor.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it. I like to watch the draft on Friday, kind of like I do on Thursday, where I pay close attention for at least the first few picks.
Yeah.
And then I quickly realize, oh, yeah, this isn't nearly as entertaining as the Thursday is. Second round, I get locked in on the guys that my team picks in the second round.
Yeah, I didn't have a second round pick this year. So I have a couple things I'll throw out there that we can talk about. J.J. McCarthy's initial picture showing up to the Vikings facility was very funny. Someone aptly said that it had big-time mom I threw up energy. He has like a wrinkled suit. Also, J.J. McCarthy has been nominated by Colin Cowherd as the #1 backwards hat energy quarterback in this draft class.
Backwards hat energy.
Yes.
That's different from actually wearing a backwards hat.
I think that's got to just be the hair.
He said it's hair, cocky Michigan guy. Backwards hat energy.
Okay, all right, but it's awesome that Cowherd's throwing backwards hat energy onto a guy not wearing a backwards hat.
Yeah.
Where it's like I don't like that you would be a backwards hat.
He's trying
guy.
to call his shot.
If you wore a backwards hat, I would hate you.
Yeah. We had the funniest trade be realized in this year's NFL when the New England Patriots selected Joe Milton with the draft pick they got for Mac Jones. So that was perfect. They basically did Pimp My Ride with Exhibit, and they're like, hey, you liked your quarterback? Well, we put a cannon on him, but he can only throw cannons.
Yeah, you want a deep ball guy? And Hank, I would start looking right now at Joe Milton.
I've been looking.
That arm.
Oh, no.
Hank,
Yeah.
Hank,
QB controversy?
I think there
Hank,
might be.
I'm more excited about Joe Milton.
It's got to be it's got to be an open competition because if you watch Joe Milton throwing off passes, the highlights for Joe Milton are higher than anybody else's highlights.
Ball looks real light in his hands.
At least you have a Hail Mary guy.
Yeah, I mean he's exciting. He's an exciting player.
Kind of redundant with Jacoby Brissett on the roster.
Yeah, really. He was the designated sneak and Hail Mary guy.
Yeah. But Joe Milton will be both of those.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like, imagine if we got Harrison Jr. and then we had Joe Milton.
Yeah.
Yeah,
go routes.
He would throw the ball off his helmet whenever he was, within 20 yards of the line of scrimmage. It is great though that it was the Mac Jones pick, the 6th rounder they traded Mac Jones and got back. They then upgraded to Joe Milton, cannon arm.
I think it's worth taking a flyer on Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. The Bears got Sam Hartman. I think
the Commanders might.
Commanders got Sam Hartman.
Yeah.
We got someone else, some other. I don't even know.
Yeah.
I got a punter.
You got the Iowa punter, which is awesome. He's very experienced. He's got a lot of mileage on that leg though, punting at Iowa.
Listen, I like saying, hey, best player available. If it's a punter, it's a punter.
Yeah. That's what the Commanders did throughout the entire draft. They just went best player available, and we got Ben Sinnott, the Low Man Trophy winner from Kansas State.
I like that.
He's awesome. He's Mini Kittle. We're not doing Baby Gronk anymore. He's Baby Kittle.
Ooh, I like
and he's going to be good. And then I also I like Newton, the guy from Illinois.
Yeah.
Dude's a problem.
Yeah. In the second round, you got him.
In the second round, we got him. Also, there was a moment, Max and I were watching the draft together, and the Commanders traded our pick to the Philadelphia Eagles. It was in the second round. Max starts pounding his chest, being like, I want Cooper. I thought he was asking to sign Riley Cooper again. It was really weird how angry he was getting. And then they end up drafting Cooper DeJean. And Max, you thought that they would have brought the Pope into town. Max was just loving it. And it was honestly a little bit uncomfortable how hard you were celebrating that pick. I think everybody in the bar was like, why does this guy like this white defensive back so much, Max.
That's not what happened. Even slightly true.
Okay. So give us the slight truth.
PFT was very excited because his team was up and he wanted to get Cooper DeJean, and then the Eagles traded. And then he just started immediately going like, Max, why do you like this pick so much? Why do you like this pick so much? Oh, you really want this guy? You really want this guy? That's interesting. When it was really, he was really upset that he didn't get him. So he was just using all of that against me.
It was an all-time moment in deflection when I pegged Max as a racist. I was like, look how much this racist wants this white cornerback.
Kind of pathetic.
Really pathetic how much you want this guy. But yeah, so I think the Eagles got fleeced in that trade regardless.
Yeah. But you did get Sam Hartman. I was thinking of Austin Reed from Western Kentucky, the Bears got as an undrafted free agent. I love the undrafted free agents.
Yeah.
So sign everyone. What?
I hate to poo-poo PFT, but how did a tight end win the low man trophy?
He was a hybrid. He was a fullback tight end. Also, I don't vote on it. Actually, I do vote on it. That's a lie. But the people that nominate the fullbacks, they take care of that. And he did play fullback.
Yeah.
He's both. He's kind of like a mix between Kittle and Juszczyk.
By the way, PFT, did you see your new quarterback, Jaden Daniels, when he was 7 years old, wrote on a piece of paper, I will play in the NFL?
I saw that.
How many pieces of paper have that for people who did not play in one of the four major sports?
Oh, I was going to be.
I definitely wrote it.
I was going to be the first baseball player astronaut.
More pieces of paper with I will play in fill in the blank league and never realizing that than traffic lights in Manhattan.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, way more.
Way more than toilets
It's millions
in the
every
country.
year. Every year you got a
Toilets in the country?
way more.
Think about Russell Wilson's house.
Way more.
He's got like 75 toilets.
But
No,
he doesn't get 75 new toilets the next year.
Think about all the
next
toilets in
year,
stadiums.
and the next year.
So you think it's more?
It's more toilets.
Infinity? It's infinity number?
There's more toilets, yeah.
Oh, you think there's more toilets?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, Hank doesn't.
It's in the billions.
You think it's in the billions pieces of paper?
Yeah.
Wow.
Your first job out of college, if you become an accountant or a salesperson, you should have to say, like, every day when I was a kid, I would grow up looking at the poster on my wall I had that said, one day I will play in the NFL.
Yeah.
And today I'm an accountant because I wasn't good enough at football.
But what if it was a forensic accountant? Do you think there's ever been a kid who's written down, someday I want to be a forensic accountant? Maybe now because of Shohei.
Yeah.
That's kind of a cool thing. All right, the Timberwolves are up 2 with 2.5 minutes left. All right, other draft notes I had. Keon Coleman rocks.
Yes.
That was an awesome introductory press conference when he was like, guess where I got this jacket from? And then one of the Bills reporters was like, from Tom Izzo? He's like, no, Macy's.
Yeah.
And then
Oh, my God.
he also said, Keon Coleman said that he went out he saw the field and he scored 3 touchdowns in his head in 30 seconds, which as far as he knows is a record.
It's a record. Well, it's a record for thinking that
Yes.
you scored. He definitely set that record.
I actually would say that's not a record.
I've never thought that I've scored more than 3 in 30 seconds. 3 seems to be like 2.
I don't know. I think there's got to be a Buffalo Bills fan who's looked at that end zone and just been like, touchdown, 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 boom.
How did that go? Like when you scored your first touchdown, you recovered onside kick?
I think he just was like, oh, I'm going to score a touchdown in the back corner, and then I'm going to get one in the front,
Yeah.
maybe one in the middle.
The part about the coat was so funny, too, talking about how he buys his coats in the offseason. So right now he's looking at shopping for winter coats.
Yeah.
Because if you get it now, it's way less expensive than if you wait until like October
Yeah.
or November to get it. Also, Xavier Legette, awesome voice.
Awesome voice.
Awesome voice. Loved his press
Incredible.
conference, too.
Incredible.
I would listen to him just read the phone book.
Yeah.
He's great.
We also had, speaking of the Bills, Josh Allen will be the first quarterback in NFL history to hand off or throw a pass to 2 separate Frank Gores.
Oh, yeah. Frank Gore Jr.
Yeah.
signed with him. Yep.
Yeah, and he played with Frank Gore Sr.
Yep.
That's kind of cool.
That is very cool. And Frank Gore Jr., his dad is really standing for him pretty hard, which I love.
Yeah.
His dad's like, yeah, he's a carbon copy of me. We had all the same measurables. Nobody thought I was going to be a great running back. That was probably because of the injuries in college.
Yeah.
But yeah, what if Frank Gore Jr., what if he just plays for 20 years?
Listen, Frank Gore Jr., I got to look it up. There was a game where Southern Miss didn't have a quarterback, and I think he played quarterback and running back, and it was just the Frank Gore Jr. show for the entire game where he like ran the ball 30 times, threw it a few times, and it was awesome. And I was like, I'm a Frank Gore Jr. guy now too.
Yeah, he's fun. There's actually a bunch of sons that got signed. It was Frank Gore Jr., Jerry Rice's kid got drafted a little bit later than people thought. We have another McCaffrey in the NFL.
Yep.
He's a wide receiver, was a quarterback. And then there was somebody else. What others? Oh,
Jeremiah Trotter.
Jeremiah Trotter for the Eagles. That was a cool moment. I
Very
like that.
cool.
I love all the behind-the-scenes phone calls where they show the GM picking up the phone, calling the kid, the owner gets on the line. That was a great one because they also talked to Jeremiah Trotter Sr., and it looked like Lurie was going to cry.
Yeah, no, it was cool. He talked about it. He was like, I've known you since you were about 2 or 3. Axeman Jr. coming in.
Yeah, I think
Also, memes wanted me to say Joe Alt. He was screaming, say Joe Alt, say Joe Alt.
say Joe Alt.
I guess.
Oh,
Joel's dad's play, yeah.
Yeah, and Joe Alt, very Harbaugh. Joe Alt came to the facility, and Harbaugh immediately was like, "Who's taller, you or your dad?" And he made them stand back to back. It was just very Harbaugh. Like he's meeting his new first-round pick, and he's just like, "You guys stand back to back. I got to check this out real quick.
Yeah. Maybe
See
room
what genes we're working with."
because maybe room to grow if his dad's taller.
Yeah, true. All right, other notes I had. I think that's. Oh, I mean, we didn't talk about it on Thursday. We should have. That was a bad job by us. Roger Goodell was just perked out.
Yeah, he was
pill-headed.
He was duck walking.
Yeah, moving slow, talking slow.
He was standing very close to Eminem at the start of the show.
Yeah. It was. I mean, he got his back blown out.
Yeah.
By the way, did Bradley Beal say something before this game like we're not going out like this? And I think he scored 9 points.
That's tough.
Yeah, I don't think
No trade clause too.
Bradley Beal. Well, yeah, we'll have to recap this as soon as it goes final. The Wolves are up 4 right now with 1:40. I want them to sweep them.
And we're going to talk about it with Peter Schrager in a little bit, but the video that came out on Friday of David Tepper walking into the Charlotte area restaurant because the sign outside said, "Please let the GM make the picks this year." Tepper saw that. He went in there with it. Looked, how many goons did he have with him? He had like at least
He had one guy. I think it was
just one
guy.
goon,
but it was kind of like I think he hired a security guard that's just basically Tepper light. Like they had the same body type, which doesn't really make a lot of sense.
So they go in there, and on the security footage, they're talking to the owner of the restaurant, or I think it was the owner, and the guy's wearing a hat, and Tepper just takes his hat off his head and puts it down in front of him. That's the most emasculating move you can do.
Yeah,
taking another man's hat off,
especially when you're David Tepper with that balding pattern.
Yeah,
because he has classic rich guy male pattern baldness.
If an owner took my hat off my head, I would show up like Christopher Moltisanti in the neck brace, like Tony Khan.
Yeah,
I'd be like, "Oh, that you broke my neck."
Yeah,
when you took my hat off.
Yeah, he a complete like, and the report came out after like he wasn't bothered.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I'm not bothered, I try to steal someone's hat.
Yeah, if somebody took your hat off, because it was a big day online for people being like, "I don't care who you are. If another man takes my hat off,
I would never.
I'm gonna beat the shit out of that person."
I would fuck him up.
In that situation, would you have fucked David Tepper up?
I would have fucked him up.
I thought about that, and I was like, I think I would have liked to say that I fucked him up, but I do think that faking an injury is the right move.
Do you know what he should have done is, for a guy like David Tepper, who's probably very litigious, so you don't want to get in a lawsuit with him and everything, and you know there's cameras, guy takes your hat, just throw him a fucking fake punch and watch him flinch like a bitch.
Yeah, is that assault? I don't think it is.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
You don't touch him?
Yeah.
You then would have to do 2 for flinching, which he could then say is assault.
No, but legally 2 for flinching, that's allowed.
That is allowed. But imagine if that was on the tape where
that'd be a good
takes
move.
Your head, you just like little juke him and he's like, ah!
I would have done that.
Yeah, and then you could maybe even get the other guy to throw a punch.
And then now we're talking lawsuit.
You're set.
I would have been like, "I'm sorry, we spilled some of our famous sauce on your chest," and then he looks down and boop.
Yeah,
that one to him.
Who got hurt in the Suns game?
The coach.
Oh no! What happened? Wait, that's not.
There was a loose ball.
But that's like an assistant coach. Oh no, that is the coach. Shit, that's bad. By the way, did Anthony Edwards just snatch Soul?
Katie didn't jump up.
Ah,
business decision.
Damn. But he snatched him.
Is that guy okay?
What just happened?
Mike Connolly was going for a loose ball on the sideline, ran right into the coach.
Chris Finch just went down?
Yep. and
Oh,
did
fuck.
not get up.
This
guy does not look ready to coach. He does
He's
not.
not.
He's got the biggest oh shit, I am not prepared for this look on his face.
He's Dennis Hopper, drunken Hoosiers.
Yeah.
Being like, I don't want to be out here.
Yeah, this is. They better make these free throws.
I mean,
He's not ready.
I'm rooting for the Suns now.
Can you pull it up for us?
He looks like he just did not do any assignment whatsoever. Now he's about to give a presentation.
Uh-oh. All right.
Now he's fighting with the other assistant. All right, they made their free
Oh,
throws.
his knee? That didn't look like it was that bad. Oh, and it was Mike Conley. Oh. I don't know.
Oh no.
Is that a knee or like broken leg? What if he just has to poop? It's like the Paul Pierce all over again.
He's got to finish this game.
You think he'd stay in if they were not down 3-0? Is this LeBron?
Oh. I don't know. This is very funny though. To lose your coach to a knee injury right before a sweep.
You know,
They
Hank.
blow the
Oh, it's
up
up
to
to
the Timberwolves.
It's up
Oh,
to
Timberwolves.
Yeah. It's not Frank Vogel. They got to show him again. I want to see him again. He looks like Joe Prunty.
I gotta find out. Like,
Remember Joe Prunty?
yeah.
Best.
Do you think they've got reporters following this guy to the locker room
Oh, they have to.
for X-rays?
Yeah, they have to. They have to give us a report on this. Okay, I think that was everything from the draft. Yeah. Oh, shout out our guy Tony Shuffler. Did you guys see that?
No.
He rocked. He got up, did a great speech, said put Mike Shanahan in the Hall of Fame, and they said God bless Bo Nix. He was doing the Broncos pick, and then he got Josh McDaniels trending, which was great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good.
So there was just a bunch of people being like, Tony Shuffler was one of my favorite draft picks. Like what could have been if Josh McDaniels didn't trade him and Jay Cutler. So,
I love that.
yeah.
Good for Tony.
Just getting a lot of hate on Josh McDaniels. All right. Let's do Who's Back of the Week. Then we got two great interviews, talking more draft with Peter Schrager, talking NBA with Alex Caruso. Who's Back of the Week is brought to you by our friends at Coors Light. There are plenty of chances in life to make things better by choosing chill. Grab every opportunity to choose chill, then reach for a refreshing Coors Light when the mountains turn blue. It's as cold as the Rockies. When you embrace a chill mindset, it's a good time to choose chill and crack open a Coors Light. Coors Light is mountain cold refreshment, crisp and refreshing as the Colorado Rockies. Make the most out of the times you choose to chill. Choose Coors Light. I like to chill. If you're a Wolves fan, when your coach gets knocked out of a game, but you're up 3-0 and you're about to sweep the Suns, crack open a Coors Light. Chill out. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/take. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. All right, who's back of the week? Let's save Suns and Wolves for after Caruso before we do lottery ball. So we'll recap the Suns debacle if they end up losing. So if you want to listen to that, if all Wolves fans, don't get upset. We mentioned you. We're gonna mention you. We'll get to that after Caruso and Schrager. Hank, who's back of the week?
My Who's Back of the Week is MLB uniforms.
I had that too.
Nice, congrats.
Thanks.
There was a report that came out that basically said Nike fucked up the uniforms. We're working to fix them. We're going to get the bigger names on the back of the jerseys, and everything should be fixed at the latest at the start of the 2025 season.
What?
Yeah.
They also
We have
absolved
to wait?
Fanatics completely. I
Which-
don't know if that was,
It's interesting.
the fix was in,
It's interesting, isn't it?
but it made very clear that
Yep.
it was entirely a Nike issue and nothing to do with anyone else.
Not a Fanatics problem at all.
Just a weird
whatsoever.
coincidence.
Just Nike. So yeah, they're returning to the larger lettering on the back of the jerseys. They're fixing the mismatched gray tops and bottoms,
Okay.
and they're addressing Nike's propensity to collect sweat, meaning like the pooling of the sweat and also the see-throughness of the pants.
See-throughness.
So
You got a problem when that has to be put into the press.
yeah, they should be less see-through in the pants area.
The see-throughness.
Yeah.
Players should be able to slide.
Yes, without the uniform busting their ass open. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm sad. I mean, I'm glad that we get to watch an entire more season of baseball with having this be like a weird thing that we get to all pay attention
Yeah,
to and
that
make fun
does
of.
make it fun.
I like that. But yeah, they're trying to fix it. Now, I read one thing that said that the guys in the MLBPA might be investors in Fanatics.
Oh.
And so maybe that was why people are pointing at Nike for being the problem, not Fanatics.
Mm.
I think it's just a weird coincidence.
Probably
It
just
is.
one of those weird coincidences, yeah.
So Nike. So it's Nike.
I said Nike was trying to innovate something that didn't need to be innovated.
Which is fair.
Sometimes you got to take a shot, right? Take a chance. No, it's a debacle by Fanatics and Nike.
Yeah, I mean that's what
Just Nike.
That's what Nike
Oh
does.
yeah, just Nike.
Like that's basically what businesses do. They
Yeah.
innovate stuff and they're like, you need this now.
Yeah,
Apple
Yeah.
does that all the time.
yeah. Aren't you bored with the thing that's been working all these years?
Yeah. Hey, you know your phone? Don't you need a new one?
Yeah.
Well, no, not really.
Don't you
Well,
need
it's-
another camera
well,
on your phone?
Well, it's too bad your battery sucks now and you have to get a new one.
Yeah. Ever thought, hey, if I'm standing a mile away from a mountaintop, do you want to zoom in and be able to see a flower on that mountaintop? You find yourself in this position a lot.
You definitely need one. Hey, aren't you sick of having a phone, an iPad, a computer? Don't you want a giant, huge phone that wraps around your eyes
Yeah.
and doesn't allow you to watch porn on it?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be good?
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't
Sign
you-
me up.
Yeah, aren't you sick of talking to people and going outside?
Yeah.
Well, we have your escape.
Yeah, here you go. You love this now.
Yeah, hey, remember that truck you had? What if we just made it a big cube
Mm-hmm.
and called it a Cybertruck?
Yeah. What if
We fixed it.
aren't you sick of your brain having its own thoughts? Wouldn't you rather just have a chip in there that does all your thoughts for you?
Yeah,
Wouldn't that be better?
that would be better. By the way, I have a hack. I shouldn't say it because it's going to... If you're ever in traffic and you're trying to merge into a lane you shouldn't be merging into,
Yeah.
wait for a Tesla. They automatically have to stop.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the cars with the sensors.
I shouldn't say that because well, actually, I don't have a Tesla, so I don't give a fuck. But yeah, little hack for people out there.
It's good.
Pretty good, right?
Unless it's the one time where it doesn't stop.
Then you're fucked.
Then yeah.
But those cars will stop, and you're good to go. When you're the asshole who has to merge.
It's smart.
Yeah.
My Who's Back of the Week was going to be old uniforms, but Hank took it, so I'm going to say my Who's Back of the Week is Coney. You guys remember Coney?
Yeah, that was
Legend.
that was a Billy football play.
Yeah, that was Billy football play in Uganda.
Yeah, it was their goal line package.
And then their whole team was like, we don't say that word.
yeah,
Please stop saying that word. And Billy kept looking around like, Coney?
yeah.
Coney? Why are they all looking at me weird to say Coney? So apparently Russian mercenaries, they're a good group. They're in hot pursuit of the notorious warlord Joseph Kony after a bloody near capture in a remote corner of the Central African Republic earlier this month, sources tell Rolling Stone magazine. So Kony might be like dead. Maybe we did it.
Oh shit!
All those YouTube clicks that we did back in 2012
See a bitch.
finally paid off.
He's finally gone.
He's finally gone. But also, according to Billy, something in Uganda that people just say all the time is they call each other Coney. So if there's a politician that you don't like, you'll be like, that guy is basically Coney. Or he'll be like, I think he is Coney. And then it's like a slur you could put on somebody.
Got
So
it.
the Coney accusations are running wild in Uganda. Who knows if this is the actual Coney or if it's just some guy that got accused of being Coney.
Oh,
Because they never caught Coney, so Coney could be anybody.
yeah.
Coney could be Hank.
Coney could be Hank. He's our Coney.
Yeah.
Bring back Cocky Hank.
No.
You're up 2-1 and 3-1.
Job's not finished.
Like, what the fuck?
You're a pussy.
You're a pussy. You are a pussy.
That's
period.
fine. I mean, I can't exist on the show. It's literally I breathe one way, breathe the other way.
No.
Say this,
Just be
say
cocky.
that, say that. Go back to saying this. Speak, don't speak. Don't speak.
No, we always want you to speak.
Yeah, speak.
We always want you to speak. Read, speak, be. We want all that.
You did quit speaking when your teams are losing.
That's just like a gaslighting thing you guys say.
No, it's very true.
There's
Very
a
true.
lot of evidence.
I would love a supercut of Hank saying gas.
Yes, yeah. Well, he can't speak.
Yeah.
So now you're gaslighting him into not speaking again.
Well, like Max, like your example with PFT at the bar, like they just say these things that you do at the bar, and I was there. That didn't happen.
What PFT said.
Correct.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, I was joking about that.
I've
entire
never
exchange.
gaslighted you about something you said at a bar.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I haven't.
I want to say I agree, but I feel like
Yeah.
you're bringing this up because
Because I don't go out.
But also, Max
Oh,
has
yeah.
Yeah.
Max
so
has
I'm good.
Max has said a lot of things in a lot of bars.
That's true. One thing about Max, he'll beat the fuck out of Hank.
I never said that.
It's a fact. Yeah,
I never said that.
Yeah, you said that. You said that a lot.
That wasn't at a bar, to be fair.
That was just existing out
No,
loud.
Remember when you kept insisting to the mentalist that Shane Victorino was your favorite player?
Yeah, let's not talk about this. Come on. Come on.
The guy was
How
like,
did we just get?
It was so
Let's
funny.
get back to Hank. Let's get back to
This
Hank.
poor
Let's get back to
mentalist. This
Hank.
poor mentalist was brought around a bar at a Super Bowl party, just doing party tricks for the people.
Oh, God.
He was just
This
trying to wow
is
people, make the
not something
time
that needs
pass.
to be talked about
And
now.
then he came up to us and he was like, "Who's your favorite baseball player of all time?" To Jake. And then Jake was like thinking to himself, he's like, "Oh, I think I'm going to tell him Derek Jeter. I love Derek Jeter." Max was like, "No, ask me. Ask me. My favorite player is Shane Victorino." And the guy was like, "Well, you ruined the trick. You're not supposed to say that out loud." It's like, "No, but Shane Victorino fucking rocks."
By the way, Draymond Green said, you got to stay in the game, coach. It's 140 left. Wish him well, though.
Wish him well, though.
Called him a pussy.
Wish him well, though.
Called him a pussy. All right, my who's back is Kentucky Derby. It is Kentucky Derby week. Very excited for that. We have Randy Moss coming on Friday. We have JJ Redick on Wednesday, but PFTI will be attending your Kentucky Derby party.
Dude, this party's gotten so much buzz since Friday when this episode came out. I'm turning people away now.
Whoo!
House is going to be full.
That's crazy.
I had to go to Costco. Went to Costco.
Dude, Costco rocks.
This is our second consecutive part of my take. We'll do an impromptu Costco ad. Went to Costco today, loaded up on hot dogs. You can buy so many things at Costco. It's insane.
I had a moment this weekend on Saturday. I was out with my two of my kids and my wife, and I was just like, she's like, "Where should we go for lunch?" I was like, "Why don't we go to Costco?" She's like, "For lunch?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Hot dog, the giant slice of pizza.
And then I got turned down. But next week we'll be doing that. I'll just take the kids. We'll go on a sneak Costco run.
Yeah, I've officially reached the point in life where I go to Costco and I'm pumped.
Oh,
I'm looking around
every time.
There's a bunch of dads in there doing their shopping.
Dude, it's the best.
You give each other the Costco old man wave.
Not only that, but I love that they check the receipt because then I'm always just like, "Yeah, I didn't rob."
Yeah,
Like, check it out, bro.
it's valid.
Look at it. I got 300 mini cupcakes,
Yep.
75 rolls of toilet paper, and 16 gallons of laundry detergent. I didn't rob.
That's the cycle of life. That's all you need.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things to do is walk into a Costco and act like I'm sneaking in, and then the person's like, "Excuse me, sir, sir," and then think that they're catching you sneaking in, and then you turn around and you're like, boom,
Costco.
executive card.
Yeah, have it. Okay, let's get to our interviews. We got Peter Schrager, we got Alex Caruso, and then on the other side of the interviews, we will recap the Suns have officially been swept in a sad, sad state of affairs for the Phoenix Suns organization, and we'll give a lot of credit to the Wolves. So here he is, Peter Schrager. Okay, before we get to our good friend Peter Schrager recapping the 2024 NFL Draft, a quick word from our friends from Pepsi. Everything is better with Pepsi. We went to Detroit last week, had our Pardon My Cheesesteak truck with some Pepsi-infused items, and we drank a lot of Pepsi, and everything tastes better with Pepsi. Think about it. This is your favorite sandwich, your favorite piece of pizza, your favorite wings. Pepsi makes everything taste better. Saucy, stretchy, crunchy, gooey, messy. Pepsi is an essential part of the most undeniably delicious food moments. Let's face it, Pepsi just makes every bite better. I love the wild cherry. That's my Big Cat approved Pepsi product. The refreshing pop of sweet, fizzy Pepsi bubbles makes even the best food taste even better. Grab a Pepsi Zero Sugar for your next meal, as every crave-worthy bite is better with Pepsi. I'm going to go get a Pepsi right now. Nice little Pepsi with a big, tall glass of Pepsi with some ice.
The wild cherry zero sugar. Awesome.
And Pepsi gave us the old school glasses, which I love.
Yep.
Love. So everything is better with a Pepsi. Okay, here he is, Peter Schrager. Okay, we now welcome on our very good friend. It is Peter Schrager. He's fresh off his trip to Detroit. The NFL Draft 2024 is in the books. Schrags, you can find him on Fox Sports. Good Morning Football. Schrags, let's start with this because we got a lot of questions about winners, losers, stories you heard, but the dust is settled. You are the master of some spin zones. Spin zone the Falcons for us.
Yep. Let's go. Let's step right into my office.
Okay.
Well, it's funny because it's like part of me is, all right, have a contrarian take, so I want to defend it. And then part of me is like, I've got to carry the water for friends in Atlanta, so let's just do what I do.
Yeah.
The argument there right now is that there's no worse place to be in the NFL than quarterback purgatory. And there's no worse place to be than 9-8, 8-9, 10-7, 7-10. And there's a lot of teams in the league that live in that area. And why that area is so bad is you're just good enough to be in playoff contention every year, but you're not good enough to actually win the thing, and you're not bad enough to get a draft pick. Now, this is very convoluted thinking. If you're considering, well, the goal is to win the Super Bowl, this move to them ensures that no matter what happens in the next 2 to 3 years, 3 to 5 years, if it all goes well for both sides, they will not be in quarterback purgatory. They viewed Michael Penix as a top 10 prospect in this draft. They themselves do not see them being in the top 10 again now that they have Kirk Cousins. So the argument is best player on the board, yes. And then $180 million, $100 million guaranteed. Kirk's our starter. We fully intend for Kirk to be our starter. But if and when that time comes, because he's 36 coming off an Achilles, we have our guy, and God forbid something happens to him, because yes, quarterbacks do get injured in the league. The season is not down the drains. I think they were really scarred by the Desmond Ridder, Taylor Heineke, you name whoever else has started from Mariota, that they don't want to be in that place again. And I'll say it because I think it is kind of linked together here. This is the same franchise that looked Bill Belichick in the eyes, had 2 interviews with him and said, nope, we're good. Like, they're on a limb. They're beating to the beat of their own drummer right here. And in this case, they don't think it's crazy that they took Michael Penix. If anything, they think more teams should, because quarterback is the most valuable position in this league times 10. And now they have theirs for the future while also having their current one that they feel pretty good about. Even they backed it up with all the money they gave them.
Yeah, the more I thought about it, I still think it's crazy in the fact that they probably could have traded back and gotten more assets, because the teams that were picking right after him, we saw, Denver was in love with Bo Nix. The Vikings were in love with J.J. McCarthy. It felt like they could have probably moved around a little bit and faked some teams out and gotten some more draft capital. But the one thing you could say for the Falcons is it was known as a weak draft for defense. There wasn't a defensive player taken to the 15th pick. And what were the Falcons going to do? I think the best player available was Rome Odunze, who went to the Bears. But if they take another wide receiver, they get killed for that, because that would have been 4 years in a row that they took a running back, wide receiver, tight end. So I guess, listen, they have a chance to be right, and right now they're the laughing stock. But if it works out, they'll be geniuses for it.
The stat I got in the modern draft era, which is 1966, they're the first team ever to draft 4 skill position players on offense with top 8 picks 4 years in a row.
That's wow.
So you do Pitts, you do London, you do Bijan, and now you do Penix. I would add one more thing. Like, when you're talking about that purgatory, and they didn't name names or name teams to me, but they were just saying in general, like, that's not a place you want to be. We don't expect to be in the top 10 anytime soon. Like, we think we're going to contend, especially in the NFC South with Cousins. But I started thinking, like, well, who would they be for? And you start thinking, you're like, all right, like, look at Pittsburgh.
Yep.
The last decade. Look at Denver the last decade. None of these teams have first overall picks, but they are in that 10 to 20 range, and it's all right. The Titans, and it's like, all right, well, how are you getting a quarterback? Well, in this case, they got theirs. Now, someone said to me, it's like Jordan Love, and we've all debunked that. The analogy to me is, imagine the Jets signed Aaron Rodgers last year and did all that hoopla and then drafted a quarterback in the top 10. Like, that's
right.
How this feels. It's not Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers. It's the Jets signing Aaron Rodgers. Because Cousins, that relationship was in a great place. I think Cousins threw out a first pitch to a Braves game a couple of days ago. I think, and I have to double check this, I think he was part of like the Falcons draft festivities. Like,
oh no,
the whole thing,
the old Mike Glennon. Yeah.
So
remember that?
I was going to ask you about Kirk. Have you checked in on him? Is he okay? We heard a little bit about Kirk.
Every other media member apparently has had a heart-to-heart with him. The day of, the amount of people who had tweets like, Kirk was surprised. There's like 18 different versions of it. I haven't reached out, and I know his agent, Mike McCartney, very well, but I haven't spoken to him either. Apparently he didn't know that was going to happen. But I've told this story, and I'll tell it one more time. Peyton was with the Saints, and they had the 11th pick in the draft in 2018 or 2017, sorry. And they wanted Mahomes. Like Mahomes number 1 on their board. And they hadn't told Breeze. They had no intention of telling Breeze. But if Mahomes somehow fell to 11, they were taking a quarterback. And then Drew Brees, out of nowhere, had never done this in his career, called up Sean Payton. They're like best friends. And it's like, I've got a couple buddies in town. Is it cool if I bring them to the war room tonight for the draft?
Uh-huh.
And so then Sean has to decide, like, what do I do here? And he tells the story. I don't know if he's ever told it publicly, but it's great. And he's like, so right then and there, I'm like, sure. And then I pulled Drew aside and I'm like, there's a chance. There's this kid from Texas Tech we really like. Like, if there's a chance, he might take him. And as picks go by one by one, like he sits Drew down, like 7th pick overall, and he says to Drew, he's like, we're gonna take the Texas Tech quarterback. And to Drew Brees' credit, because the story's much better if Drew Brees takes out like a 2x4 and breaks it over Peyton's head. He was just like, got to do what you got to do. And this is the height of Drew Brees. Like, I think the next year they went to the NFC Championship game, and Brees is like, you got to do what you got to do for the future. I totally get it. Like, Brees was cool about it. And then Andy Reid trades up 1 pick before them, gets Mahomes. They take Marshawn Lattimore, and Brees was there to watch it all. But like, it's never a comfortable conversation.
Yeah.
And if you don't take the guy, you don't ever want to even like let the other quarterback know that, because the alternative is what happened to Rodgers, where he was, I think, down in Peru or Chile when it happened and was completely blindsided and was, upset by it. But Cousins, I think he left Minnesota because he wanted that commitment, right?
Yeah,
and these guys gave him the commitment. But here comes Michael Penix, who Chris Sims made a great point. Come training camp, Cousins is awesome. Obviously, Cousins is still rehabbing. Like, no one throws a prettier football, maybe anywhere in the league or in college, than Michael Penix. I was at the combine, like 2 feet behind him. It was like watching Mozart compose music, or it was like watching Van Gogh. Like, it was just like this lefty, big release with this like tight spiral, throws just bullets, but they're like so beautiful. And it's, once these players start catching passes from Penix and Cousins is on the side, like, it's gonna be something.
Yeah, it's gonna be awkward.
I mean, is there anything at all to him being a lefty quarterback where it's like, okay, well, maybe some teams would prefer not to have a left-handed quarterback because it does look different for the wide receivers. Like, is that something that people do take into account? Because watching lefties on TV, I'm like, that person's a witch. It looks wrong.
It looks weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that you're saying? Is that why, like, some people were down on Penix? Because I think the more the medicals, but the Falcons were super high on him. And I think if the Vikings, just based on my intel, if the Vikings didn't get McCarthy, they were very comfortable taking Penix at 11.
Yeah.
I think the Broncos, I think the Broncos had Knicks over Penix, but who knows if that was a smokescreen. I think if he was there at 12. So like, it was more the team than where he went. Like, he goes 8th overall to another team. We're like, all right, it's a little early than we thought, but the fact that they just signed Cousins, how'd you guys think it? How'd you find it out? Like, I had this whole like plea online, and then I did it on Good Morning Football on Thursday, where I'm like, please don't tip picks. Like, just don't. Or if you do tip picks, like, if you're a viewer at home, like, try to lay off like Twitter, because there will be something cool and shocking and different that happens tonight. And you don't want to find it out from a random tweet from like Jordan Scholes or Shams Charney. Because what happens is, and I'll give you the behind the curtain. Either A, good reporting, someone from the team submits the card and there's someone in the room who can text a reporter and be like, dude, we're taking Penix. And then that reporter, good for them, they can go public with it. I don't know if that's how the fan wants it, but that's fair. Or maybe more dubious is at the NFL teams, all 32 of them, when another team submits their pick, where it says the pick is in on the board, when it's like, ding, all 32 teams get that before it's announced on television. So all it takes is one person who has a source at any of the teams to say, oh, the Falcons just took Penix. And then they run to Twitter. Like, did you find out from a tweet, or did you guys find out like you did?
Yeah. So every year I have a ritual, and I like Albert Breer. He's been on the show before. I think when he got hacked, right? We had him on.
Good guy,
Albert
good
Breer,
reporter.
Good guy.
Very good.
Every year I mute him on draft night because he tweets out every single pick. And I forget for about, I don't know, usually like 2 or 3 weeks that I have him muted.
Come back at OTAs.
Oh, shit, I gotta bring Albert back in the timeline. But yeah, I found out from one of his tweets, and I was sitting in our war room here at Barstool, and my jaw was just on the floor for like a minute. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Because it's not that he's a bad player. And if you think that if you have him graded as a top 10 worthy pick in terms of a quarterback, then yeah, I guess it could make sense and it might pan out for him in the long term. But at the time, I couldn't believe it because it didn't make sense for about 10 different reasons.
Yeah, and the salary cap hit on Cousins is so much, and now you're adding another quarterback to the fold. Dan, what about you? Same thing?
I found out we were doing no spoilers in our war room. The only one I spoiled was I wanted to know the Bears' 9th pick before anyone else, so no one could spoil it. And I had the same reaction. I was like, "What the fuck?" Like, and I get it. Kirk Cousins is he's on a 2-year deal. Everyone says 4. It's a 2-year deal. So, and I get it. I understand. Like, you don't want to be in a spot where you need a quarterback. You want to be, you have your next guy already. And Kirk Cousins isn't young. But it still was just shocking to me just because I think they could have traded and I think they could have gotten him somewhere later and gotten more draft capital. And like, that's to me, the winners and losers of the drafts are the guys who are able to maneuver it and get who they want, but also get the most out of it. Like even the Bears, like the story came out that, I think it was Ian Cunningham was holding Ryan Poles back because he wanted to trade up to get Rome Odunze.
Yeah.
So if he trades up to get Rome Odunze, yeah, we still have Rome Odunze, but he just gives away picks next year. That would be a mistake. Instead, they were patient. They got the player they wanted. So it's like those little maneuvers are the winning and losing drafts, and I think the Falcons could have maneuvered better. That's all.
Yeah, that's fair. Peyton was taking like great pride in that he got the Jets to the Vikings to trade up with the Jets. I think he was bragging about it, but that's the game of chicken. So the Vikings, through fear that the Broncos were going to jump them, made a trade with the Jets to go up just 1 pick. And then they took care of it at 10 and just got McCarthy there when, if they had stayed, he's probably there anyway. The Jets, and maybe Sean Payton wasn't going to be able to pull that trade off, but you're right. And that's what these guys get such a high on too. Like that's the best stories of, what if we had made that trade, or what if we moved back, or what if we stayed put and did this? Everyone thought the Jets were taking Brock Bowers, and this year there were no leaks out of the building. They take Olu out of Penn State. Broncos take the quarterback, and then talking to the Raiders guys, who knows if they would have taken Penix if he was on the board, but they did not think in a million years Brock Bowers was going to be sitting there at 13. They just took Michael Mayer last year. In their case, they're like, he's one of the cleanest prospects in this entire draft. We'll find a way to use him. We need offense everywhere. So then Brock Bowers, who I can promise you in a million different mock drafts, not one of them had Brock Bowers going to the Raiders, but that's the beauty of the draft.
Yeah.
It is beautiful. Yeah.
Yes. So on that, who out there and talking to everyone, I know everyone loves their draft.
Everyone got
first
an A+.
weekend. Yeah, everyone gets an A+ in their own room. But who do you think did the best maneuvering the board, getting, filling holes, and you walked away being like, I think that team is just way better than they were walking into Thursday night?
There's one that's going to be pandering to one of you that I can talk about. And there's another one that I think there's no fans in that room right now, but I think Washington had a really, really good draft. 9 different picks, 9 different positions, got a bunch of players who can play right away. And I think Jaden Daniels is the perfect mix of has a ton of experience. He's 23 and then he's still electric. And I think what they did around him with the tight end Sinnott, and then of course getting the offensive lineman Coleman. But I love the fact that they got Johnny Newton in the second round, like Adam Peters for a first-year GM. Like that was awesome. And then I think the Arizona Cardinals, who had so many picks, they hit a home run. Now they're not a sexy team. I couldn't tell you, 5 guys that contributed on their roster last year, but like you talk around the league, everyone's like, Arizona compiled a bunch of picks and they got a bunch of guys who are going to play right away. And Dan, I know there was only 5 picks, but I thought Chicago, with what they did, I mean, you get Caleb and Odunze, and then the kid from Duke, who everyone was really high on, or Yale, everyone was really high on. Like, that's a really good draft. That's 3 contributors that are going to play on a team that I think was a couple games away from being a playoff squad.
Yeah, I mean, the draft was the first round for me because with only 5 picks, it definitely
Were you hoping they would trade back from Odunze, or were you cool
I was cool with whatever. I'm in full trust Ryan Poles, everything he does. Like, I don't think I think he actually, I'm working on a theory that he did the Chase Claypool deal on purpose so that everyone was like, this guy's dumb. and then every deal he's made since has been ingenious. So he
It's like a
basically,
sandbag.
he completely rope-a-doped the league by being like, who would trade a second for Chase Claypool? What an idiot. And then everything he's done since has been gold. By the way, when you just said you were going to pander to someone, Max started shaking his head because he thought you were going to talk about the Eagles. I'm happy you didn't.
Yeah.
Because he literally, it was one of those
pointed at
moments.
himself. He said, he's talking about me.
Where he
I mean, the Eagles had a great drive.
Yeah, he stood up and they're like, no, I'm actually talking about the guy behind you. So he was, he's very excited about his draft.
I thought the Commanders' trade with the Eagles in the second round was genius. We fleeced the Eagles. They gave up so much to take Cooper DeJean when Kool-Aid McKinstry was still on the board. I love that pick. I love to see that happen in the division. And then Adam Peters is, I think he's like the best player available god. So if you had asked me going into the draft what the Commanders should be doing, I was saying load up on the offensive line, get some big boys, have somebody protect Jaden.
You got one lineman.
We got one lineman in the third round, but what he did, I thought a really good job of, is he realizes that the roster needs a ton of work, right?
Yep.
So we're not like an offensive lineman away from being a contender for the Super Bowl. So he just saw value getting great players, even if it was a position of strength. Get good young players wherever you can. I thought he did an awesome job of that. But yeah, the icing on the cake for me was just fleecing Max in the second round. Just absolutely taking him to the woodshed on that.
9 positions is awesome.
Max wanted
That's
Cooper
cool.
DeJean so
he was
bad.
devastated.
He wanted Cooper DeJean so
Devastated
bad.
after this pick.
I wanted Cooper DeJean, so I'm projecting on Max that we
I know you
fleeced
did.
him.
Everyone did.
Yeah.
I think the easiest way to get engagement online or to get likes or retweets, I have posted Cooper DeJean basketball highlights 11 times, but 11 different reasons why. And it's just, I just want new followers. So maybe this will go viral if I do it at 8:00 p.m. I'll just put out Cooper DeJean basketball highlights.
Code, yeah.
Yeah. Wait,
I said today, I posted that video and my tweet was, because I'm 6'3" in person, I say whenever an ex-player, a current player, or a coach sees me in person and says, "Oh shit, you must have hooped in high school," which I did. This is what I always hope they envision me just dunking in Iowa.
Yeah. I like 6'3" in person. You're just implying that you're 5'10" on camera. 6'3" in person.
Dan, what about you? I feel like you're a big guy too. Do people always say yo, you're taller than I expected?
No, I think people know I'm tall, but yeah, I do. There is. I mean, we make fun of Florio. Florio's actually not that short. He's 6'1", but he has short face. So when you, he does.
Yeah, he's got
short face.
He's got a short vibe to him.
Yeah, he's got short energy. So when I could understand people being like, "Oh shit, Mike Florio, you're way taller than I thought." I always thought you wore your 6'3" correctly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start saying 5'9" in person.
Yeah.
That's
5'9"
a powerful line.
We're going to get back to more Peter Schrager, but before we do, Game Time. Game Time's an exclusive ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. Did you know you can get tickets to any baseball game right now? Let's look up real quick. Let's look up on the Game Time app. The Cubs, I think they're coming back to Wrigley this upcoming weekend. Game Time, the official ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. You shouldn't have to worry when you buy tickets to your next big event. Game Time is a fast and easy way to buy tickets to all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. All right, I'm looking it up. Cubs.
$11.
$11 get in, but you can. There's some really good seats. There's some 200 level. Oh yeah, $75, $50. Maybe you want to sit in the sun. I'll tell you right now, you can sit in the sun. $111 for a flash deal in box 28. That's a great deal. Get some sun. Cubs, weather's turning, outdoor. Baseball, nothing better, and Game Time will get you there. They have flash deals for sudden discounts. That's what I just quoted. Zone deals for when you're feeling flexible, and their lowest price guarantee means that if you can find the same seats for less anywhere else, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Game Time is the best place for last-minute seats with up to 60% off your favorite events. What are you waiting for? I'm going to buy those Cubs tickets, and we're going to go sit in the sun, watch the Cubs play the Brewers. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code PMT for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed with the Game Time app. Okay, let's get back to some more Peter Schrager. Schrags, I got a question for you about your good friend Sean McVay. He made his first round selection ever as a head coach. In that war room, was there any chance that they were going to trade? Was he like, no, guys, I really don't want to do this? Like, what if we had to pick up their 5th-year option? Like, that would suck.
He very much was in the mode of trade down. Like, they get such a kick out of the trade down. They think and it's not just him, it's all of them. Like they think it's the coolest thing that like they get guys on day 3 that all end up being like Pro Bowlers and all thing. I'll tell you, they had, I think I could say this. They had 3 guys on their board. I forget who the other defensive player was that they were interested in. And the offensive player was Bowers. And if it wasn't any of those 3 guys versus whoever that might have been Latu, might have been Murphy. I forget who it was. It might have been Peyton or Turner, Dallas Turner, but it was Bowers on offense and it was 2 defensive guys, and they'd done a million simulations. And like Sean was geeking out on this the whole last 48 hours, like texting me like, yeah, you know, all these scenarios, and their whole front office is great. And they all like enjoy this like we do. They're almost like fans in a lot of ways. And Bowers would have been the one, like if they'd moved up, it was going to be it, but they didn't. They just were so happy. And then Verse fell to them, and then they get Verse's teammate, which was one of the cooler viral videos, which I'm sure there needs to be like a behind the scenes story on how the hell they made that happen. That Verse was somehow there to get on the Zoom call.
Yeah.
With Fisk. Like,
It was cool.
It was great.
Yeah.
I love all those videos.
Yeah.
I watch.
So do I.
Doesn't matter what team it is, what player it is. I always like to hear it.
Isn't it funny that some of them don't land? Like it's just a player being like, "Hey, coach."
Yeah.
And the coach being like, "All right," and then like the team still posts it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
The owner's
I
on the
still
phone
watch
like,
them.
congratulations, we're bringing in. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Well, the
No
Bears,
fanfare.
yeah, the
Yeah.
Bears posted the one with Caleb Williams, and it was kind of awkward because he had known he was going to be a Bear he was wearing a shirt underneath his suit that said Chicago on it. So it's like Ryan Poles talking to him, and Caleb Williams was like, okay, sounds good. Like, is a formality. It's like, we don't have to release that. Like, it looked like he wasn't enthused, but he clearly had been enthused for the last 2 months.
He's like, "We've got to wait till there's 5 minutes left."
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, all right.
Yeah, the NFL, yeah.
I got a
Those
question.
are good.
I got a question for you though about the logistics of the broadcast and the draft itself. Why
Yeah.
is it that we have to wait for the full allotted amount of time for the first overall pick to be announced in any round?
Great question.
Why can't Goodell say like, I'm opening up the draft, he gets booed, and then he's like, no, here's a little kid that's on stage with me, don't boo me, I've got this kid next to me. I declare the draft open, and then boom, immediately Bears hand in their pick, and Goodell says, okay, the Bears have taken Caleb. Like they've had what?
Yeah.
4 months? They've
Yeah.
had 4 months
Totally.
to do this?
Totally. I'm with you. I think it's a TV show in a lot of ways, and they want to build some sort of suspense, and so they go that way. I mean, look, I laughed last year. I was in Kansas City, and I'm doing the draft, and we're sitting there, and with a straight face, they're singing national anthem. There was a flyover of the what are they called, the Blue Angels or
Yeah,
whatever they
F-18s.
fly over. Yeah, and no one's, and I'm like, they're handing names in on a card and announcing them
Yeah,
later.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
national anthem. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is amazing. So I think it's all part of the show. But this year Goodell had, what do you have? He had kids in the flag football, but he also had he had Eminem, he had Jared Goff, he had Amon Ra. Then he finally gets back and they still boot him. I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah, they had the A-10 Warthogs buzzing the tower going over
Yeah.
top. It was like the most American thing ever for the NFL draft.
Yeah.
For some
NFL
reason.
draft.
It's the best. It's the best.
It is.
Um,
And then the fans that are all dressed up,
Yeah.
that are like in the front rows wearing the big chains, faces painted, and then they hear a guy in the second round, and it takes them like, my favorite moment is like when they don't immediately know who it is,
yeah.
and they're like, yeah, I like that guy, yeah,
Yeah,
good pick.
the best.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Jets took Olu, and Kyle Brandt was in the pit, like doing all the interviews, and we were laughing. And he asked me, he's like, "What do you think the reaction was when they took an offensive tackle over a tight end?" I'm like, "I'll tell you exactly." I'm like, "First of all, where's the fan from?" He's like, "Long Island." I'm like, "Perfect. Here's the reaction." The initial thing is surrender Cobra. They passed on Bowers, and then 1 second break, and then smart pick.
Smart pick. You gotta, you build.
Got to protect Rodgers.
Yeah,
Build from the inside out.
Yeah,
Build.
right. You're right. It's
not sexy. It's not
we all
sexy.
become Bill Parcells in that moment. All right. So I know everyone loves their draft. Was there anyone that you were like, that didn't really make sense, or a draft where you're like, hey, they probably missed on, they didn't maybe fill all the holes they had going into the draft?
I have so many thoughts. Like, it's hard because I truly am telling you that teams have different, like, I had a team tell me that Latu, just because of the medical stuff, like, wasn't a first day pick for them. Like, and so then if the Colts take him 15, the Colts are doing flips that they got their number one defensive player in the draft,
Yeah.
a pass rusher they never thought would be there at 15, but another team didn't even have him at all, like, viewed that way because of other reasons,
Right.
So the one team that, like, just because of the whole offseason being so curious has been the Cowboys, where
Yeah.
Jerry says all in, and then Guyton has not played a ton, is not like this polished player. They traded back. they get more draft capital and they end up picking an offensive lineman who sure might play, but like Rico Dowdle's their number one running back right now. They didn't sign any real free agents, and they've got Dak and CeeDee Lamb's contract looming. So like to me, the Cowboys, when you say you're all in, and I know we shouldn't like make too much out of an owner saying whatever, but like there's 1,000 people working for that team that are like, okay, well, he said that, but we're doing the best. What does that mean if you're trading back and you're drafting Tyler Guyton, who might end up being great, but all in how for 2024 or
Right.
all in for what,
All in my
Yeah.
ass. You're saying all in my ass. You're doing the Skip Bayless.
Yeah. Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
the tweet. There's a comma though, right?
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
comma. There's a
Yeah.
comma.
It was a comma.
So yeah, what about? I guess it might be tough for you to say which team you think had the worst draft. I know you're close with a lot of front offices, a lot of coaches, but
No, it's more that I find it annoying when it's like draft grades and no one's
Yeah.
brave enough to give anything lower than a B minus, and no one's bold enough to give anything higher than an A minus. So like to me, who had a bad draft there. We'll look back in a couple of years. We'll know who had good drafts and bad drafts.
I
But go
looked.
on,
I
right?
looked at Mel's. He gave like 15 Bs.
a lot of B's.
Yeah.
That's what everyone
So
gets a
many
B.
Bs. He was
Everyone
just
gets B
spamming
except
Bs.
Fan at home
Ravens
sees it,
get
it's
an A.
like,
Yeah.
Yes, Ravens got an A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what would you say is the team that that you've heard from other teams around the league where they're like, I don't understand what this team was doing?
I'll tell you a team that, and it was the Eagles last year that I got a lot of heat for in Philly because I said on the draft, I'm on the broadcast day 3 and I love it. It's my favorite day. And I said, a few teams around the league now. All right, slow down, everyone on TV, just crowning the Eagles because they did the Jalen Carter, the Nolan Smith. They traded for DeAndre Swift, and it was like literally it was a 3-hour. Oh my God, the Eagles! They went to the Super Bowl last year, and they could do no wrong. And I think other teams are like, guys, there's 31 other teams on the broadcast. Why don't you talk about someone else? I'm like, all right, fair. The team this year that I got from a couple teams that they were like, okay, some curious picks, but maybe they know better than we do. And one of the lines was, you guys on NFL Network sure do seem to be excited to crown them, was the Detroit Lions this year. They traded a future 3rd-round pick for an offensive lineman out of British Columbia that they took on day 3, who might be great, might not be great, whatever. But that's one of those where you're kind of feeling like, what's it, a heat check? You're kind of feeling yourself a little bit. Their draft last year was so good when they got Laporta and Gibbs and Branch and even Jack Campbell, who might not have had the best season, but when you draft an inside linebacker at 18th overall, that's you telling the rest of the league, like, we don't really care about how you rank your board. We do our thing. They did that, and then they traded up again in the 4th round, and they took a player that played safety and running back out of Utah and is kind of a hybrid, but like they traded up. Like that's the kind of stuff when you're like, all right, you know what? We're just going to go for it. We're going to do it our way. And you know how the Lions are such like a vibe right now, and they're all wearing the Dan Campbell jerseys.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of those where the Lions are feeling themselves a little bit. They're like, we're right there. We're going to take some bold picks. We're going to make some bold moves, and the rest of the league, they can bitch and whine and moan and make their comments, but like, we believe what we've built in this building because we've done it. We've built it from the ground up. So
Yeah, they deserve
were,
a heat check. Yeah.
They were feeling themselves this draft quite a bit.
Yeah.
So important question. How is Goodell doing? I know he got his back blown out a couple months ago, right? And he got hugged pretty hard up on stage. An he tell, well, like, was there a word that went out to some of the guys that were in the green room? Like, don't hug me. My back got blown out.
I think he had an operation done, I think. And then Mims, the big kid, or was it Latham? It was Latham from the Titans, just came right in and just jacked him up. And I saw no pain, wincing. He was walking around night 2. So I think he's fine, but you have to wonder if the kids knew that in that moment, they're like, you know what, screw it. I've been watching this on TV for 20 years. I'm hoisting that guy up. Like, I'm going for it. I'm doing it anyway. He can deal with it. But yeah, I think he's okay.
Yeah. All right. I have a couple last questions. The first one is the Spencer Rattler story. That was crazy. That teams were like, yeah, we didn't like how he came across as a high schooler in a Netflix show, or I don't even think it might have been just a YouTube show. That's nuts. Like, everyone's a shithead when they're 17 years old. Like, teams were actually judging him that way and being like, everything he's done since.
Were you aware of this show before?
Yeah. Yeah, we knew
were.
about this show. Yeah.
Spencer Rattler, like when he got to college, he was very hyped up at Oklahoma because he was the guy that everyone hated from QB1. Yeah, he was kind of the heel. He came across like in that show definitely like he had a sense of entitlement, but again, He's a high school kid.
Oh yeah.
That has been like his life has been laser focused at being quarterback.
Ian's report, because we tossed him. Because okay, so first of all, he's a day 3 quarterback. I've said this before. Like I don't want to ever criticize a kid or anything, but when you watch the draft on NFL Network and on ESPN, if there's anything I want to say, it's every player when they're taken. A lot of times it's like, oh, this kid's amazing. Everything's an All-American. Like there's no. So Spencer Rattler, when all the 6 quarterbacks go, we're like, who's the next quarterback? And all of a sudden it becomes the focal point, and it's like, could he go early second? Is he going to? He was a day 3 quarterback in September. He was a day 3 quarterback in October. He was a day 3 quarterback in February, and he's a day 3 quarterback in March, probably. And that's nothing against him, but when you're now the focal point because you're the last great quarterback or the last quarterback everyone knows, you're gonna go there. So we're talking about Spencer Rattler nonstop on the broadcast, and it's actually becoming good theater because now it goes from 4th round to now early 5th round. And Ian comes into the broadcast and he's had a whole report on Rattler, and at the end of it, he said what he said, where he's like, there hasn't been any conversations that I've had or that show on Rattler where that show doesn't come up. And I'm not doubting Ian's report. Charles Davis then comes on and is like, yeah, but the last 2 years since he got to South Carolina, he's matured. And that's when that part doesn't come out. Ian's report comes out, and like, what's the term? Strawman? I don't even know what it is. Literally, any person who's met Spencer Rattler in our sports media world, like came like a rise to arms in defense of Spencer Rattler. And I'm like, all right, see this coming. I'll tell you honestly, I didn't do a ton of work on Spencer Rattler. I've heard things about his game and all that stuff, but I was vaguely aware of I'll just say it's, I didn't do enough stuff because I do the 1st round mock draft. I didn't do enough on him to give you a personal take on whether or not that conversation piece came up. But I would trust Ian that if that showed up, it was probably 6th in the conversation of here's about his throwing motion, here's about his leadership, here's about and then, oh yeah, did you see the reality show? I'm sure it did come up.
It also, as we get those stories on day 3, where it's like a quarterback goes and it's almost like you need some nugget to remind everyone the draft's still going on. They're like, oh yeah, Spencer Rattler just got drafted. And I was like, I was like, oh shit. Yeah. We are in the 5th round right now.
5th round.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that. I mean, like we love it on our, I'm doing rounds 4, 5, 6, 7 yesterday. And I'll tell you, like when those international guys get taken, when that kid from the Lions goes, when a punter or kicker gets taken, it's like a jolt of enthusiasm.
Yeah, I know. Right.
Go.
Something different.
Let's
right.
Go.
Right.
They took the Iowa punter. Let's
I know.
go.
I mean, that might have been a heat check for Ryan Poles too, where he's like
the Australian guy does the pick and he's wearing a Jack Seaborn jersey. Yeah. I'm like, this guy's great.
You take a punter when you're like it's the last piece. Yeah. For a Super Bowl roster.
Well, I mean, you might be best player available. The Iowa punter. It's like that dude. He's got a lot of experience.
Yeah. There were like arguments. Like I actually kind of like the pick just because people were like, once this draft is not that deep because of NIL and a lot of guys staying and not underclassmen and everything. He's like, he was a really fucking good punter, and the Bears punter sucked last year.
Dan, a question for you. Is Caleb Williams having a heat check? Like he did this thing where he's like the Bears,
yeah.
And then like
he does the hand claw,
yeah,
which Bearman's been doing for a long time. He's doing a little heat check. Listen, people keep asking me, they're like, do you think he's too eccentric or goofy? It's like, if he's good, none of it will matter. It's basically comes because it's after like if he's not good. People will blame the nails. Yeah, they'll say that like, oh, he's too crazy, he's too unique. And if he's good, no one will give a fuck because no one in that locker room will care anything if he can ball, which I think he can.
If he's good, it'll actually be the opposite. People will be like, this guy is so funny.
Yeah, I also think he is truly just the first like true Gen Z quarterback that we have. Like I think there'll be more Caleb Williams coming up where it's like kids that are of this age that were born on the internet that are like unique personalities. I just think it will happen more.
I think he's a tremendous addition to the league, and I'm not saying he's gonna say ridiculous. I think he's a real personality and he's unique. Like we haven't had this before, and he did the thing with the Bears. Then that whole controversy about the Pablo Torre podcast, where the gentleman, I think Fleming's his name, came on and was like a GM compared him to Prince playing quarterback, and everyone was outraged.
It was a compliment.
I actually 100%. See a GM actually saying that because it is some of the things that he is different. It's refreshing to me. So then he also said like they did something and I was just reading the transcript, but he's like, I'm coming for 12. Like, I love it. It's like, and 12 is Brady. It's like, all right.
Yeah, yeah. Why not? And
Let's go.
And the Prince thing was so funny because it was so like front office GM guy, where like
Prince.
he's like, oh, Prince is a weirdo. It's like if you call him Bruce Springsteen, then we're talking. It's like Prince is one of the greatest musicians of all time. If he has a career that is comparable to Prince in the NFL, he will win like multiple Super
He's
Bowls.
the
And I'll
Jeff
be the
Lynne
happiest.
of quarterbacks.
Yeah.
A deep cut.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm so excited. I think he's going to be awesome. I think he's a really good player. Like all the other stuff doesn't. I'm just going to defend him. I'm ready to defend him on every turn.
Yeah,
I'm
I mean,
excited for it.
The Prince thing is a head scratcher because like anybody that's ever listened to Prince is like, well, Prince rocks.
Yeah, Prince is the
Genius.
best.
Prince rocks. He's looking at Prince as like the dad of a young kid that's starting to listen to music, and the music confuses him.
Yeah,
It's like I don't know about this Prince nonsense.
yeah.
Yeah, like the parents and like the Beastie Boys, like license the right to party video, like
Yeah.
like Prince.
Shut that off.
Get that out of here.
Yeah.
Shut that loud music. At the combine, I spoke to him for a while, and I'm friendly with Kingsbury. And Kingsbury's like, no, he's a great dude. He's like, you'll love him. Like he's cool. So talking to him, and he showed up Friday night at the combine, and quarterbacks don't do anything till Saturday. And he'd already said he's not doing anything, and everyone was up in arms over it. Showed up Friday night, and he's wearing his big sweatshirt where it says like quarterback 11, whatever it was. And I go up and I sidle up next to him. We're talking for a while, and I'm like, oh, I'm friendly with Lincoln Riley, friendly with Cliff, like, great to meet you, all this stuff, do my usual spiel. And I'm like, why are you here? He's like, oh, I forgot the kid's name. I'm sure he was drafted. He's like, this corner's competing tonight. I wanted to see him do his 40 and do all this stuff. I've never seen a quarterback show up on Friday night of the combine to watch a teammate work out. It's the first time I've ever seen it. And I don't think it's him acting. He wasn't doing it for camera. So I'm like, all right. And then I've spoken to a lot of the Bears guys about him, and it's like he moves. I forget the term they said, like he moves quietly. Like he's got this great presence, but he's not loud. He's just like, he moves. He's just cool.
He's
quietly,
assured with
and
who
like,
he is. Yeah, you can feel the
and like
confidence.
super comfortable,
Right.
and just like so comfortable in his own skin. So you take that, and like teammates at Kingsbury will tell you, like teammates at USC love the kid.
Yeah.
Love him. Like, and that's from top to bottom. So that's all I need.
Yeah.
Prince
Yeah.
or not.
Yeah.
So Pete, you've done a great job picking the Super Bowl. What, the last 5 years, or is it 4 years?
3 years.
3 years.
Oh no.
It's
told
getting
you guys.
smaller every week.
Smaller. They caught me. I came on your podcast, said 5 years. The truth of the matter is I've had the matchup or the right winner the last 5 years. But we went back and checked the tape, and I had the Chiefs beating the Buccaneers in that COVID one, which kills me. And then there's another one where I had the other team winning, but I've had Rams, Chiefs the last 2-3 years. So let's just go with
That's
that.
pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So I want to give you a chance to spread your wings a little bit. Give me a third-round pick that was taken in the draft that you think is going to be the guy next year. Where we're like, how do they like the Puka Nacua? Who's the Puka Nacua of this year's draft? Could be any position.
You know who? Okay, so that's the running back on the Dolphins, who they traded up to get in the 4th round, Jalen Wright, out of Tennessee. Okay, I don't know how it works in fantasy football because they have Achan and they have Mostert and they have Salman Ahmed. They have all these guys. This Jalen Wright averaged 8 yards a carry at Tennessee, is as fast as they come, and was supposed to go on day 2 and was supposed to go early day 3. They trade up to get him. And if I know Mike McDaniel, which I think I know fairly well, like that's his pick and all over it. They traded up to get him. Again, depth chart be damned. There will be plays where Jalen Wright, the running back from the Dolphins, like has an 80-yard scamper or does something crazy. And the way they do their offense, like all those running backs will touch the ball. So Jalen Wright, 4th round pick, Dolphins. That's my diamond in the rough.
All right. I got one last question. It's a rowback question. RHOBACK.com. Promo code TAKE. 20% off your first purchase. Q-zips, polos, hoodies, joggers, shorts. Rowback.com. You knew I had to ask this. You know I have to ask this. Your boy David Tepper. Come on.
I thought of you right away.
Come on.
Right away.
Going into listen, I've watched the tape many, many times. I do not think it was an aggressive move, but
ball busting.
Even still,
man.
pulling the hat off another man's head, that could be seen as an aggression. Just going in there though, and being bothered by that. Well, I mean, you are the number one David Tepper defender.
I'm a
What's
David
going
Tepper
on?
stan.
What's going on?
Again, marches to the beat of his own drum. Goes in there, sees a sign that says "Stay out of the draft room." The night before, he was feeling good. They traded back into the first round. They got Xavier Leggett, who, by the way, has one of the best press conferences.
Yes.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Was feeling himself, but couldn't resist. Saw that sign, had to go in and just. He's a man of the community down there. He just wanted to make
that's
sure
what
that
it was.
You want
Yeah,
small
yeah.
business. Yeah.
He screams small business. He screams Carolina native. That's what he screams. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It was an.
I have no
definitely-
defense.
Yeah.
I think
it was weird.
I think it was weird. It was probably playful, a lot more playful than the drink situation. But yeah, look, people are up in arms over it. I think he likes it. I think it's like he's just playing around. He's having fun. Like it's his team, and again, we'll never be pushed around, and we'll never be a wilting flower in the corner of the room. He's gonna have his voice heard.
Yeah, it was a weird move, but I think every other restaurant in the Charlotte area should just put out signs like that and just hope that he stops it.
Yeah,
Like,
just bait.
it should be his thing where David Tepper, if he sees a sign disparaging him, will come in and get into an argument with you.
In a world of like protests on college campuses and like real life, that's such a very niche specific thing to put on a sign in front of your restaurant. Like it is so specific. I'm like, I so appreciate that. Like, keep the owner out of the draft room. I'm like, God, of all the causes.
Yeah.
I'm like, let's go.
We got to do. Yeah, we'll put a sign on. We'll post a tweet on Pardon My Take. David Tepper, you won't come on this podcast.
You won't,
Yeah,
bitch.
we wear hats all the time.
Yeah. If he
Come
took
take it.
if he
Come
took,
and take it.
If he took my hat off, it would have gone down different.
Oh,
I'll put it
man,
that way.
I would have fucking
I would have been
slapped
like,
him.
I would have been like Cam Newton when he's getting jumped and that hat doesn't go anywhere.
Great reference.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Schrags, thank you as always. You're the best. Get some sleep, and we'll talk to you later on this summer when we get football coming back.
You guys are the best. I so appreciate the invite. And the Bears, the Commanders, the Patriots, and the Eagles all got better this weekend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Love it. Love it. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate it.
All right. See you, Schrags.
Peter Schrager was brought to you by our great friends over at Chevy. As everyone knows, this is a Chevy truck podcast. Chevy trucks are the greatest trucks ever built, and our good friends at Chevy have been a big part of the Part of My Take story. The Silverado helped us dig the biggest hole ever done in Ohio during Grit Week. It took us to the big game out in L.A. We drove from Connecticut all the way across the country. A Silverado got us there, and it has partnered with us to give college fullbacks all the rightful recognition that they deserve with the Lowman Award. Lowman Trophy Award winner Ben Sinnott, Washington Commander, very excited about that. Chevy was there for that award. Chevy Silverado, the longtime awesome partner of the show, a truck with commanding and unstoppable grit, legendary capability, dependability too. So you can find out for yourself, like so many other AWLs. Head to Chevy.com, check out all the Chevy truck grit, build your own Silverado, check out what current offers are out there during Chevy truck season. For do-it-yourself road trips, projects, off-road adventures, tailgates, whatever your thing is, it all starts with a Chevy truck. And now, here's Alex Caruso.
Okay, we now welcome on our good friend, Alex Caruso. Probably the quickest back-to-back.
Yeah, a little thirsty on your part.
A little thirsty on your part, but
That's
this is to explain to the audience. So the first time we had Alex on was like 3 weeks ago. Awesome interview, talking a lot about his career. Caruso's here for another 3 days before he goes back to Texas for the summer. And I was like, well, he knows basketball. Let's talk some basketball. Let's talk more current, what's going on in the playoff series. Like, I'm down. Also might have been because we have a golf simulator. And Tuesday he texted me and was just like, hey, can I come hit balls on a random day? I was like, yes.
Yeah.
We're going to get you a key card. So first question, tough question. You just played 18 with Hank. Did you win?
Yeah, I did. I did win.
By how many strokes?
I don't know what the final difference was. I did finish 1 under. I birdied 18 and got back
Hank,
under par.
Did you finish even, Hank?
We can't hear you,
If
Hank.
you only lost by 1, Hank?
Yeah, add a 5 to that.
6. You lost by 6?
1-5.
Well, it's,
You
okay.
you were 15 over.
Yeah.
And he was 1 under?
Yeah.
Oh no.
16.
It's interesting because you've played, what, 36 holes today?
I have, yeah.
Yeah.
I was fresh. That's probably the excuse. you know?
Okay.
Yeah. So, Hank, if you took your best 18 holes that you played today, would you have beaten him?
No.
Wow. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I had a good
Stick.
day.
I do have an important question. I'm glad that you're in the studio today because we need to get to the bottom of something.
Mm-hmm.
I figured you might have some insight into it. Who's the guy that the Lakers have on staff that steals all the opponent's shoes when they come to town and lets them not have them for a shoot around? Do you know who did that? Is there one guy where you're like, yep,
that must be a new hire. Yeah, they must have serviced somebody out once I left and used all that money they didn't give me to.
It's smart
to hire somebody.
I love that. I love Coach Malone after the game being like, I'm not an excuses guy, but you can point to the fact that we were wearing flip flops in our shoot around. Would that actually fuck you up?
I mean, to be honest, if you have a routine, it might, like if somebody's superstitious and you got to have your routine and got to do this. But like, there's been games where I don't even shoot before the game. Like I'll go out and shoot like 5 free throws, 10 free throws just because I'm tired and like need to save my energy for the game. And I go out and play great. And then there's some nights I do that and I don't play good. So like, if you're not a big excuses guy, no.
Yeah.
But yeah, what are you gonna say? You
Yeah.
lose your first game, you're probably gonna.
I feel like there's some guys that have such a pattern, a routine that they get into, where something like that might mess with their head a little bit, or at least shake their confidence. Like if you do everything on game day the exact same way, and then something that small can like mix you up a little bit. Maybe you got there, you're not like
you're
as
mentally
confident.
weak then.
But yeah, you're mentally weak, and also you probably
Or you just care too much.
a real warrior like me myself. I don't think it would impact my shooting at all.
No.
You'd probably do better.
I'd go from 5 to 8%.
All your makes and warm-ups, you'd save them for the game. It'd
I'd
be
still
great.
be bad. All right, so let's start with that series because the Lakers did win a game, which was huge. First time in 11 games, I want to say.
I was a little nervous that if they got swept, what the energy would be like when I came in here today. So I was.
Well, I mean, we have had this. It's rare that this podcast is on the right side of history when it comes to playoffs or whatever. We predict things poorly most of the time. We have been dead on with this series where it's every game's the same. The Nuggets go down and then they come back and they win and they snatch the Lakers. So and AD and LeBron play like great games and no one else shows up. So what is it about that matchup that gives the Lakers so much like trouble?
Well, dude, Denver is just built so perfect around Joker, right? Like they got length, athleticism, shooting, and then like Joker, man, you saw the one pass where he was going over his head.
So good.
That pass, it was the basketball, purist in me got so excited when I saw that because it's just like you would love to play with a guy like that. If you just get to the right spot, you're gonna get the ball. And like they got shooting all around him. Jamal Murray's the perfect complement to him, playing off of him in like the pinch post, getting layups, and then defensively they're just they're locked in together. Like they might not have the best individual defenders. Like KCP's a really good defender, Aaron Gordon's a really good defender, but outside of that, the team just has
defense,
good team defense.
Yeah,
and the chemistry they have is phenomenal.
So Jokic, like it does feel like he's playing the game on easy mode. Like that pass specifically, watching that, it's a joke. Like watching him be able to do that, and he's almost toying with them. When you're going up against a guy like that, can you tell when a guy's like feeling it to the level of like it's just everything is easier for him than anyone else on the court?
Yeah, those are the nights where you hope that you're not playing and you hope that you're watching.
Yeah.
You're watching on TV because when you're playing, man, that's like a guy of that caliber who already doesn't really care, and then when he tries, it's like, all right, what are we going to do tonight? Because the whole thing with him is make him score. And it's like, well, if he gets 12 assists and 15 rebounds and then make him score, now all of a sudden he's got 20-something points. It's like it's asking a lot for the other guys to not get their numbers and try to win a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just seems like he doesn't think when he's out there. He just moves and
he just knows.
And he just knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like he knows ahead of time. Like, okay, my instinct is to do this, so I'm just going to go with my instinct. And he ends up becoming like a really smart basketball player the less he has to think about it, which is crazy to watch. That one play where the ball goes over his head, he goes from like ducking because he thinks the ball might hit him in his head to, oh shit, here's the ball. And then just
split
hits
second,
it.
that guy's open. I know he's there.
Yeah.
He hits it like a balloon. Like you would,
I even think
like
the
you would hit a
duck
balloon
was
across
kind
the-
of like a fake out.
You think so?
Yeah, I think he's playing on that easy mode.
If
It's
he
everything he
knew
does.
the ball was coming
Yeah.
over his head, then I
But
props to him.
he's on such an easy mode that even the mistakes, I'm like, oh, he did that on purpose.
Yeah, I mean he just makes, and that's part of like he's got the poker face, right?
Right.
He looks like he doesn't care. We know that he doesn't kind of care. He obviously wants to win, but he's thinking about his horses back home.
Yeah.
the whole time. Yeah, dude. When a player doesn't have any stress and they're really good, like it's gonna be a long night, long series.
The Lakers have been talking about some of the adjustments that they've made. The Nuggets were finally asked some questions like, "What adjustments are you going to make?" Joker was like, "I'm not going to tell you. Like, why do I even share that with you?" But when you're making adjustments in the middle of a series, What's that like in terms of like your coach communicating what you're going to do differently to you guys? Is there a text that gets sent out like when he's watching film at 2 a.m. that morning, just trying to get over that loss? Or is it just, okay, come in and then get into the office and then here's what we cooked up overnight?
Yeah, it'll be more like that. The second one, it'll be more a little direct and thought out rather than just like a text message. Hey, next game we're going to double them in the post or something like that. Like they'll go back and watch the film, and and most of the time it's not even schemes. It's like more matchups, right? Or like minutes. Like they'll try and make sure that they bring a certain player in whenever the other guy's best player's in, or if a team goes small, they might throw two bigs out to try and do something like that. But yeah, a lot of that is either overnight or over the course of the day. And a lot of times too, the first couple games, coaches don't want to make too many adjustments, right? Like you want to play it out because this is like the plan they go with. And then after like maybe game 2, you're like, all right, we got to switch some stuff up.
Yeah. What about so the Heat? I know they're down 2-1 now. Hank, the Heat actually have already accomplished a great thing this playoffs. They've retired cocky Hank. He's not going to be cocky for the rest of the playoffs. But it feels like every year Spo does something to get the most out of this team. What is it like when you're playing the Heat? Do you have in the back of your mind like Spo's going to do something that I probably haven't seen, or like they're going to throw something at us that we haven't seen on tape? Like how? Maybe you could just explain. Maybe it's just a dumb question. Like how do you quantify a coach like Spo and what he's able to get out of this Heat team?
Yeah, a lot of it I think is nurturing and cultivating, like getting the best out of the players. A lot of times with him, he's so intense and he's such a competitor. Like when that's the lead dog, between him and then Jimmy, obviously, and Jimmy's not playing, but he's still the voice and he's around. Like it's hard not to raise your level to that. And a lot of times people talk about like their culture, like that's a big buzzword for them and for Miami Heat in general. But like the people that they draft and bring into their organization all fit the mold of like, all right, like dog mentality, like we're going to play hard. Like we might have a couple deficiencies, we'll work on that, we can get through that, but like for the most part, I know what I'm going to bring night in, night out. And then he does a good job of scheming different things. Like against us, they put Bam on DeMar the whole game, and he like was basically playing a guard spot on the outside, and it just kind of stalled us out a little bit. But like you see in the Boston series, like there's just a lot of isolation. It's hard to scheme against that when they have so many different guys.
Right.
Go get a bucket or create for the other guys.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I didn't want to bring up the end of the Bulls season, but that was like Bam going on DeMar. It's like you don't think that's going to happen because Bam's usually relied on. It was
the first game this year we didn't play with Jimmy, so like it was the first time. Like and we kind of predicted, like we figured they were going to do that. Maybe him or Caleb, but once we get into the, you're in the heat of the battle, like it's a 1-game series. It's
right.
different than the playoffs where you're going 7 games. We're like, all right, coach is going to watch the film and we'll come back next game
and do something different.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would definitely be a bad coach. I would watch the film and I'd be up all night.
Text.
I'd just be like firing texts.
Just like play harder, guys.
That are definitely asleep.
Yeah.
Like, hey, here's what we're gonna do. And then when they got in the next day, be like, remember, look at that text I sent you. That's our adjustment.
I think
I'd be a very bad.
I think I would just start every
More simple.
single.
Yeah.
It might be
Let's not overthink this.
Well, that's what I would say every single practice or before every game. But like it's a make or miss league. So fucking make your shots.
Yeah, I say that throughout the year
like
multiple times.
Just
like
make
we
your
played
shots.
great tonight. We didn't make shit. Like,
yeah.
I would say you have to want it more than they do. That was always my favorite thing when I was a kid.
That's
like
coach speak. Yeah, that's great coach.
I love it. And in reality, I think there might be some truth to that in the New York Philadelphia series, where it looks like New York does want it more.
They just play with like a. I mean, they play like that all year though. Like it's nothing.
Tibbs.
It's nothing new. Yeah, it's Tibbs, but and then same thing like, Hartenstein plays like that regardless. Josh Hart plays like that regardless. Steven Chinzo, OG, like they all fit that mold of how they want to play, and they did a good job of bringing players in to fit that. And then Jalen Brunson's just on a, he's been on a tear all year, but especially postseason. There's not a great matchup for him in the league, but for sure, Philly hasn't found one yet that they've found that can slow him down at all.
Yeah. And it feels like, and you tell me, like what happens when a team out rebounds another team like that so much? Like the offensive glass, you can even say for the Bucks Pacers series too, where it feels like the Pacers are just, they want it more on the glass. What is the fix to that? Is it like, do you guys actually have to go into the day off and be like, hey, you got to box out, like this is team rebounding, or how do you fix it?
It's crazy how like the simplest the simplest parts of basketball
Right.
wins games, and
Right.
you forget that like that's the stuff that's important.
Yeah.
You know, that's like one of why Minnesota is such a good defensive team. They got 7 something, 6'11", Jalen McDaniels 6'9", Naz Reid 6'10" coming off the bench. Like Anthony Edwards is 6'6". Like they rebound the ball when they get stops. Like you don't get second chances. It's impossible to score on them if you don't shoot well.
Right.
Yeah, that's one of the things too, though. It's like you got to box out to get the ball. Like if they keep getting shots, eventually they're gonna make them. Like the pros, and it's in the playoffs, so they care. So they're gonna try really hard. Like if you don't get the rebounds, you're not gonna win games. And it's one of those things where it's like your habits come to light.
Right.
If you haven't done it all year, you're not gonna start doing it when it's time to win.
It's tough to turn it on.
Can't turn it on.
How often during the season is boxing out like talked about?
I mean, we talked about it. We were a small team, so we had to talk about it because if we just tried to jump with people, like we would get killed on the glass. But for us, I mean, that's a pretty normal thing, and that's a hard thing. Once you get to like professional sports, if you're serious about winning, and the coach talks about that stuff, like not turning the ball over, setting good screens, not fouling, rebounding, like boxing out, like those are the things like you'll watch as the teams advance in the playoffs. Like they do all that little shit that wins basketball games.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you can make as many shots and do all that, but you're gonna have to get some stops. You're gonna have to do the stuff that wins games.
Yeah. All right. Dumb question. And I've noticed this happens a lot in the NBA these days where, and maybe this is you tell me this is just defensive philosophy. We're doing it no matter what, but switching everything. When a team switches everything, you'll sometimes see the other team, they won't even like set real screens.
Yeah.
They'll just kind of flash and then you'll get a switch.
Yeah.
What is that's crazy to me. Like even I was saying it about the Jamal Murray game winner.
Mm-hmm.
Like no one really came and set a pick on LeBron, but they switched it, and Anthony Davis is an incredible defender, so it's not a bad switch. But what is that? Like I feel like you're giving something up when you just immediately concede the switch, even without making the other team set that pick.
Yeah, part of that is personnel based. Like obviously that one with AD, like you feel pretty confident
Right.
switching that late game, and they're probably like sometimes teams have switching partners. Right?
Oh,
So, like,
It's hot.
I like
yeah,
that.
real team camaraderie stuff.
Yeah, you gotta be real
Wait,
close to that guy.
who's your switching partner?
I mean, any guard, but like most of the time, I do a good job of trying to keep the
You
matchup.
fight through it,
Yeah, because
yeah.
I don't want to let this guy try to go against my teammate. Like that's my job. I'm
Right.
first team all defense. Like
Yeah.
let me go guard this guy. But that was kind of when teams started going small and started switching everything. The slip screens and the ghost screens became a big deal. Like just trying to cause confusion, basically.
Right, just standing there for a second and then going to the rim.
Can I get this guy to open up his hips, and then that guy gets the hell out of the way, and I can go downhill and create the advantage where it used to be, all right, big guy comes set the screen, now I'll come off and get downhill at the other big. But teams are going small, trying to get more shooting, space out the floor, and when you do that, like Indiana, that's their offense. Like they play fast, and they just they're one of their main plays is action called pistol action, where it's just a guard-to-guard step up on the sideline, right, setting a flat screen to the baseline. And that guy, majority of the time, slips out, and Tyrese Halliburton or T.J. McConnell just dribbles as fast as they can, gets to the baseline. And it's a really hard action to guard because they're playing so fast.
Right, right. What do you do? Like, what are the rules in when you're playing against a team that's just running a pick and roll over and over, and it's a lob to the even that Mavericks Clippers game, James Harden was just on fire with his floater, and it felt like the Mavs, and it might have been because of Luka's fifth foul, but it also felt like Jason Kidd might have had different personnel in there, might have been better. But like, what are the rules when you're getting just beat to death with a pick and roll, whether it be floaters or lobs at the rim, and you can't stop it?
Yeah, depending on like what the coverage is for the teams, like that might be what they're willing to give up.
Right.
Like obviously we're not in Dallas's meetings, like we don't know what they're doing, but like James Harden is one of the few guys on their team that can create for other guys. Like anytime that they have a good game this year, he's got 8, 9, 10 double-digit assists. So like for me, that might be something where I'm thinking, all right, they're going to live with him taking floaters contested, and they just didn't do a good enough job contesting the shots.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where, coach is going to go watch and see like, all right, do we think he can do that again? Yes, we need to change something up. If not, you kind of live with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great answer because it's like
it's
he
taking
went 12
something
for
away.
17,
Yeah.
and it's like, okay, yeah, maybe that's exactly what they wanted to do.
But they didn't give Zubac, Plumlee, dunks and
Right.
corner threes whenever you bring the low guy over. So that might be something they're working on. they also could have just fucked up the coverage.
Right.
The big guy was supposed to be there, and they kept messing it up, and that's something where in the playoffs you can't have happen. So
Yeah. And I do think Luka having the fifth foul, like he was very passive once he got his fifth. Not that he's like an elite defender,
no, for sure.
but he was very much like, I
he
can't
was
come
gonna
out
let
of this
whatever
game.
happen. Like, I'm just gonna stay in the game, and we'll try to find enough stops.
Right.
In a game like that, when you get up big, like huge in the first 2 quarters, is it more of a mentality in the playoffs of like, let's try to keep our foot on the gas, or is it let's play smart? Because I feel like every team, if you give up a big comeback, you're like, oh, we should have kept our foot on the gas. But I feel like sometimes it is smarter, like to start slowing things down and to not like, to play like possession-based ball where it's like, we're not going to give you enough possessions to come back at this point.
I think you still got to play aggressive, whether that is, playing fast and taking the opportunities in transition, but also being smart and like realizing when you have to come back out, play against a set defense. But I mean, if you punt too many times, and like we say punt, like in football, you give possession back. So if you come down, don't do anything, late clock, there's 6 seconds, now you go isolation, you take step back middies or step back threes. Now you're giving them defensive rebounds. Like, that's a hard way to live, to try and make all those shots. Mm-hmm. So for me, I like just staying aggressive, foot on the gas, and going the whole game, because at a certain point, it's there's not enough possessions. They're gonna have to start taking more threes. They're gonna have to try and switch up defense, maybe trap something, and now you're getting open shots. Like, for me, it's stay aggressive, because if you let off the gas at all and then they get momentum like Dallas did,
Right.
Clippers were lucky to hang on to that game just because Dallas had the foul trouble. I think that the 2 main guys kind of had to pull the reins back a little defensively.
Yeah. All right. I want to talk about 3 teams that are kind of not under the radar, but they don't get talked about a lot because they're not the Lakers or the Celtics or the Knicks or the Sixers, but the Thunder, the Magic, and the Wolves. Mm-hmm. They're 3 of the, I think, 4 best defensive teams in the NBA. And you saw it with the Magic. Like, they just that was insane what they did to the Cavs. The Cavs scored 18 total points in a 20-minute stretch in the second half. What is it about those teams that they're doing so much better than everyone else defensively? Because I love, personally, when we get to the playoffs, it's like defense still matters, and you get to actually watch teams like, oh, we can shut you down and get you out of everything you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, one of the statistics that people look at when you try to find championship teams, top 10 defense, top 10 offense.
Yeah.
And a lot of times the teams with the offenses will kind of sneak in there and they have a puncher's chance. But the teams that defend are the ones in the playoffs, like we just talked about. You got to get stops. Best players in the world, right? Best players in the world are trying their hardest to win the game. So eventually you're going to have to get some stops, because if not, they'll just keep scoring. And all those teams, they got a little bit of youth on their side.
Yeah.
They play really hard all the time. They don't take possessions off. And then they got size and length at the rim, and they got guys that can speed you up on the outside. That's a key. That's what our 2020 championship team with the Lakers, like, we had guards that were just hounding, pestering guys, and then we send them into the lane to our 3 7-footers.
Yeah.
It's like, how are you going to score like that? Like, you got to be really decisive and really smart about how you attack those teams. And if you don't do it enough times in a row, all of a sudden they went on a 10-0 run. Now you're playing behind the 8 ball, and it's really tough.
Yeah, because it does. I mean, it is kind of not a chicken and egg, because it does feel like you need the rim protector is the number one thing. But like the Magic, for example, their guard, like Suggs, is big and he's long, and he gets in your face. Is that because he knows he has that help behind him, and that like those work together every time?
Yeah, those 2 things really play off each other. I think. I mean, that it's. You saw with us, like, we don't have 3 7-footers to send guys into, but like, I was a point of attack guy. Like, our guards did a really good job of trying to get over screens and limit activity. You kind of have to play like that regardless. Like, if you're guarding, for his sake, you're guarding Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell.
Right.
Guys can shoot threes. Guys can get into the lane. Good free throw shooters. There's not a whole lot they can't do offensively. So if you just let them play comfortably, they're going to kind of pick you apart.
Yeah.
So I think it starts. You have to play like that out on the guards, and then it just is an added bonus that they got guys at the rim.
That's why Rudy Gobert, I mean, that makes everything go for the Timberwolves, where they're just like, we can just send you to Rudy Gobert and you're not going to score.
Be super aggressive, use your length, and then if you get beat at the rim, you got a safety blanket.
Yeah, he at least will make you alter your shot, or you're going to think about him. Who's the number one guy that you would think about, like when you're going into the paint?
Wemby.
Wemby, you're like, oh shit,
It's already, dude. It's already there.
because
Yeah.
he can block.
Y'all saw the clips this year. Like there were guys that were on fast breaks, and like he's a step behind him, and they just dribbled out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because it's you block guys standing on the ground.
yeah.
It's like
Crazy.
Rudy's up there too. Like Rudy still has that, that presence. But man, Wemby's already just like he's so long, man.
He was like
Yeah.
at the free throw line. There's a guy starting to take a three, and he takes one step and blocks it.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
crazy. Why do people not like Rudy Gobert? Is it because he's French?
I don't know. I think French might have something to do with it.
Mhm.
But
I think
there's
it's
plenty
also-
of French guys that like
They like
Like-
Wemby.
So
I
they
don't
like
think
Tony
people-
Parker.
I think
Yeah.
people like Tony Parker. I don't think people hate Nick Batum. Like I don't think it's a mandatory French thing.
Yeah,
I think it's probably the flameouts in the playoffs.
maybe it's when he gave everybody.
Yeah,
COVID.
maybe
Yeah.
he's always pretty vocal too, and it's
Yeah.
like people don't always love that from defensive guys. Like think about any defensive player that was like super outgoing and vocal like that. If he wasn't on your team, everybody kind of hates that guy.
Right.
Yeah,
You
Right.
know? Like
That
that's
makes
just kind of
sense.
the status quo for how that goes. I think that's probably where it comes in.
it's because
Yeah.
like he stops you from scoring, and then he talks a lot about it, but then he won't score on offense, and you're like, wait, what the fuck? Like, why? You're not
Yeah,
scoring
like-
either.
Yeah, that rubs a lot of NBA players the wrong way because NBA players are all focused on scoring. Like
Yeah.
that's the thing. It's like I'm gonna go get a bucket. And, like you can't stop me. You get a couple stops and guy talks shit. It's
Yeah.
like-
Have you noticed any difference in how the refs are officiating the game in the playoffs?
yeah, it's interesting, man. I was thinking about this. Like, it's like they go through a threshold at the beginning, like play in first couple games, and then all of a sudden it kind of reverts back because like it gets so grotesque of like of a viewing experience
Mhm.
because this guy's just hammering each other. Like guys are going into the lane. Like I think about the Warriors Kings playing game. I don't know if y'all saw that game.
Yeah.
Dude, they're playing football.
Yeah.
And it was like obvious fouls that weren't getting called. And then today I saw James Harden did a stop it. We call it a stop and shot, where like guys on his side and they like stop really fast and the guy touches them, and it was like minimal contact and they called a foul. And it's just stuff like that where it's like you want it to be one way or another, or at least a happy medium. Like I just feel like it starts off the playoffs. Everyone knows it's like all right, it's tightened up. Like there's no real body. Like you can kind of armbar a game. Like if you go in and they hit a little bit of arm, like they're not going to call it. But then they kind of soften up like a couple games in.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, we got to get back to the production of what we want to watch.
I also think they just don't. They don't take as many of like the cheap ones, which I appreciate. Like Kyle Lowry today, that was one of the funniest things. Did you see that when I think maybe it was Brunson fell down and he tried to like jump and trip himself while shooting, and it was ridiculous.
Savvy vet. He got
He
the
just-
call.
Yeah, I know he got the call, but
Yeah.
it was just like
I saw
He did
I
like
saw
a dive
statistic.
forward and shot from where his waist
I
was.
saw
Yeah.
a statistic too that there was like 8 flopping calls called in the first couple weeks of the season, and then there was like 2 called in the last.
that's how it happens in the NFL. They always do that. They'll do a
point of
new rule.
emphasis for
Yeah,
like a month, and then
Yeah.
it's like, wow,
they
There's
get
also-
people to stop.
Yeah, there's a lot at stake if you say that a guy flopped in a playoff game, and if you're wrong, like if
Yeah,
it wasn't a
that's
flop
true.
and you call
Yeah.
him for it.
Yeah. How weird is it watching these playoffs? And I know that we're in the middle of these series. We're watching the Suns Timberwolves game right now. Obviously, the Lakers won on Saturday night, so they're still alive. But we could have a playoffs where Kevin Durant, LeBron James, and Steph Curry are not in the second round. Can you feel it shifting? Like the league is.
This is probably the first postseason where you actually see it.
Yeah.
You know, like even last year, like those guys still were around. Like obviously, Golden State was really good. Lakers made it to the conference finals. It's just, dude, the young guys, man. Like and is like of that old school nature. Like talk shit, back it up, talk more shit behind it, which I love, like the competitive spirit of it, because you see a little bit of the like not buddy, but it's not as always cutthroat during the year.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like win or go home every night.
Right.
I'm trying to win the game. Like I'm friends with a lot of guys in the league. Like after the games, I'll say what's up, like good to see you. I'm gonna be pissed if we lose, and I'm not gonna be as happy and as excited to see them. But at the end of the day, like I want to win. Like I'm not gonna like not try or like not like I'm not gonna back up or slow my roll because I'm playing against my friend, and I feel like that's how he brings it every night. And he's got the game to back it up, or sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
I might talk a good game, but at the end of the day, I need some help.
It's
And-
cool to watch, like him and SGA and like some of these younger guys, where it's like, okay, this is kind of what the league's gonna look like.
Yeah, I mean, even Luka's still young.
Yeah.
There's so many, Paolo Banchero looked amazing game 3. You know,
Yeah.
if he could ever develop like a high 30s 3-point shot, the dude is going to be amazing.
We're going to get back to Caruso in a second. He's brought to you by Pepsi. Everything's better with Pepsi. I love Pepsi. The zero sugar wild cherry, delicious. The standard, also good. It doesn't matter what you're having. You could be eating hamburgers. I had a Pepsi with a hamburger last night. Set it off. Made the cheeseburger 10 times better. You can have Pepsi with Thai food. I did that on Friday night. Great choice. You can have Pepsi with anything. It makes everything better. If it's saucy, stretchy, crunchy, gooey, messy, Pepsi is an essential part of the most undeniably delicious food moments. Let's just face it, Pepsi makes every bite better. The refreshing pop of sweet, fizzy Pepsi bubbles makes even the best food taste even better. Grab a Pepsi Zero Sugar for your next meal, as every crave-worthy bite is better with Pepsi. Pepsi, check it out. Now here's more Caruso.
Yeah.
So of all the young guys, like second year or rookie, who is the one that you've got your eye on? Is it Paolo? We'll put
Second
Chet.
year
Yeah,
rookie.
Chet.
Chet.
Although, was he technically a rookie this year?
He was technically
Technically rookie, yeah.
He was
He'd still be
technically
second year.
rookie. Yeah.
Dude, honestly, Chet's gonna be really good. People haven't talked about him enough just because, you know,
The
Shay's
commercial.
Yeah,
The commercial really
the
fucked him up.
Commercial.
Yeah,
Yeah,
tough.
I've now done like a full circle on the commercial where it comes on. I'm like, oh yeah.
yeah.
All right, yeah. What
Yeah.
a pro wants.
No,
Yeah.
but like he's gonna be really good. Like we played him so early. We played him twice early in the year, so like he hadn't figured it out yet. And then watching him later in the year, man, you can tell guys that get better through the year. He's gonna be really good. I still think, man, when Wemby figures it out, it's gonna be trouble.
Yeah.
He's just physically. It's gonna be like how teams had to match up with LeBron for like a stretch of like a decade, where it's like you need a couple guys on your team that are 6'7" to 6'10" long and can move a little bit. But for him, it's gonna be like 6'9" to like 7 foot.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
scary.
With Wemby, what's one thing about playing against him that we don't get as fans watching the game? When we're just like, we can obviously see his defense and what he can do, the places he can come from to block a shot that seem impossible. But is there something about his game that playing against him is different and you can tell already, like, this is going to be a problem?
Dude, just how much space he absorbs while he's out there. Like even on offense for him, like if a guard comes off a screen from him or like somebody who's guarding him helps just a little bit, and like he's within 10 feet of the basket, like he's gonna get the ball and he's gonna score. Like if you don't have a guy that's 7 foot that's right next to him, like he pretty much is just grabbing the ball, and lays it in or dunks it. And then like you said, defensively, like he can cover so much ground, and like he set records this year for like blocks and steals, I want to say, and he's just playing off instincts.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't even know guys' habits yet. He doesn't know who likes to go left, like who likes to pump fake. Like once he figures out like people's games and like how the flow of the game works, he's gonna set some records.
How do you stop Jalen Brunson? And what is it about Jalen Brunson that's like why? Because
Well, a lot of people would tell you I don't have the answer for that. Last couple games of the year.
I mean, a lot of people don't. The whole league doesn't
Yeah, a
really
lot
have
of
an
people
answer
don't have
for
an
it.
answer.
But like, what is it about his game that he does at an elite level? Because he's not a Wemby. He's not jumping off the page in terms of athleticism and all that stuff. But he's so effective. He always feels like the game is in his control too.
Yeah, well, especially once Julius was out for the year. I mean, it's just his ball every time down the court. Like when I'm pretty sure he had the highest usage rate post All-Star break in the league. Either him or Luka were 1 and 2, and it's just he's just deciphering where he wants to go. He's shifty. That's one thing. He gets guys to change angles and move his body. He's got a good first step, and then he shoots it good enough off the dribble to where you have to honor it.
Yeah.
If he gets hot, he can make 6-7 in a game. Scores at 3 levels. Like his touch, he gets in the lane, plays off pivots. He's making reads, right? Like he's not getting in there and saying, all right, I'm going to go do this. Like he's playing off of how you're guarding him, which is one of the hard things for me when I'm guarding him, because I'm trying to stay, I'm trying to play like a cornerback does in football. Like I'm trying to mirror him and stay in front and not give up like the angle or leverage. But he's a tough shot maker too.
Yeah.
Like
So
he makes shots that he probably shouldn't make, but he
so
does
it's
it
like
consistently.
it's doing stuff where like he's watching you and being like, you're your weight is in the wrong spot here, and that's how I can go after you.
Yeah, or like, he pump fakes and you rise up. Like he has great footwork. That's the Villanova coming out at him. Like, pretty sure what do y'all call it?
Booty ball.
Yeah, booty ball.
Yeah.
He's got that down. Like he had that coming out of college, and now he's just refined it and added some other stuff to his game. And it's not like a point on the court where you can kind of shade him or corral him to that he can't find a way to get to a spot for a shot.
Yeah, it is so much fun to watch because it is like those are the players that they're not the most gifted athletically, but their footwork.
You say that
no wasted.
Maybe not like in the tradition.
Yeah,
NBA
he's
form.
incredible
He's
athletic.
not jumping out of the gym.
Right, that's what I mean. Where it's not like
but
he's jumping over
quick,
guys.
man.
Yeah,
he's changing direction, and his strength is underrated.
Yeah, and it's just the foot when a guy has footwork, and I love when it's like no wasted steps. Where it's like
that's part of it too. Is there's no wasted movement.
Yeah,
a lot of times when I'm guarding guys, like if you waste a movement, I'm gonna take that as my advantage, cut you off or play you into one of my teammates. For him, it's not a lot of waste.
It kind of reminds me, and this leads into a question. So did you do the anonymous poll on The Athletic? Did you fill that out?
I don't think they asked me this year.
Oh, really? We're trying to find out who voted Paul Pierce.
Oh, I did see that.
Yeah.
Was it the greatest ever? Is that what?
Yeah. Was it you?
It wasn't me.
Can next year you do it? And
who should we do it random?
Blake Griffin?
Deli.
Oh, Deli.
Yeah.
Deli would be good.
Dude, Deli is the GOAT. And we'll be like, oh, that was Caruso.
You respect Deli's game?
Yeah, I do. Of course.
Yeah.
Oh,
that was like, my avenue in. That was the player I had to like.
Deli walks so you could run.
You were the Italian Deli. You were the DELI.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a very funny poll though. So but I brought up Paul Pierce too because he kind of had not the same game as Jalen Brunson, but also like not the fastest, but there was no wasted steps.
Got to his spots.
Right, exactly.
He could rise up and shoot over guys too. Like 6'7", 6'8", I think.
Yeah.
You're a Texas kid. I want to give you an opportunity to respond to Charles Barkley. He went after the city of Galveston pretty hard. The Galveston Beach.
Yeah.
That's pretty close to College Station. I'm sure you've been there once or twice.
Yeah.
I've been there. I'm not going to inject my personal bias into it.
Okay.
Do you think Charles got it right about Galveston, or would you like to defend it?
Yeah, no, it's not great.
Yeah.
It's not the best, but like it's a beach.
Yeah, it is a beach.
You don't go to get in the water, I'll say that.
No, there's sand, there's water.
Yeah.
But there's also like tar and oil on the sand because people also drive their cars on the beach.
A lot of seaweed too. It's
pretty gnarly.
Yeah, no, that's what it is though. You go out to hang out on the beach. You don't really there's no boogie boards or like that stuff is.
I actually have seen people boogie boarding in Galveston, but I swear to God,
people will, but you should not.
You should not. What they've done is they got these big ass oil tankers that drive by. And the giant waves that come off of these oil tankers, people will be like, "Oh shit, let's go catch a wave," and it's just from this big ass dirty
big
boat.
swell today, boy.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of agree with Charles Barkley, but
no, it's not the best. It's not known for its clean water. We'll see.
Yeah, you get drunk on the beach. You drink 20 light beers in the sun on the beach.
Play some
football or cornhole. Yeah,
exactly.
Why?
For the vibes.
Yeah. Why do role players play better at home? Or is that just a cliche we lean on and just like do confirmation bias where we're like, oh, this guy scored a bunch of points at home and then he sucked.
It would be interesting to do like an actual statistical analysis on that because that is like, that's like the generic like go-to saying like, oh, this guy – home game guy's going to play better. But like Alexander Walker the other night hit 4 or 5 threes in the second half on the road. Like I don't think that affected him too much. I think it's person by person basis.
Because it is just I think it might be just be the cliche we go to where it's like, all right, got to get back home, then all the role players will chip in.
Yeah, well that's like this like I had some of my best games this year on the road. Like I had a game at Minnesota, I set a career high in 3 made. Game at Indianapolis, I had like 21, 7 and 7. Like I played some of my better games on the road this year. So
What about, have you ever been in a playoff game or any big game where the crowd, your home crowd, seems to be like 70% away fans?
No, not that much. No, but
that would suck.
Do you think that would piss you off?
For sure.
Oh,
yeah,
for sure.
What would you be thinking about that?
I probably during the game I wouldn't think about it too much, but like the other team makes a shot and you hear a bunch of cheers.
Yeah.
What was that?
Or you miss a free throw and your home crowd's cheering for it.
No, that's.
And you're also fighting through Bell's palsy.
Or it's not quiet when you're shooting your free throws at home.
Yeah, you can only see out of one eye, and you're like, what are all these fans doing here?
What would you say? What would you say about that after the game?
not excuses guy.
No.
Not an
Not an
excuses guy. Yeah, but it sucks.
It's tough. Yeah, it's tough.
Mhm.
Yeah, like you wouldn't say bad sports town, but some people could say that.
It opens up dialogue for that.
Yeah, the conversation's happening.
It has to start.
We've had that
Max's
conversation.
It is, I don't give a fuck state of this series where he's like, this can't hurt me.
I mean, the fact that it happened in Philly, of all places,
Ah.
is crazy. And I understand it's like, a 2-hour drive from New York. You can get on a train, be there, and get back home. Prices also at MSG are crazy to get in. So.
That's my favorite. Whenever we
Yeah.
start bringing in the price wars, we're like, well, it's so expensive to go to MSG.
Yeah.
It's like,
Which is kind of true.
it is, but it's just such a funny
It's loser
cope
talk.
that we go to where it's
Yeah.
like, well, of course there's
Yeah,
a bunch
but
of fans. It's cheaper.
Yeah.
That means, but for them to have that many home fans on the road,
I know.
tickets are available.
It's brutal.
I would be upset if I was a player.
What's what out of all the places in all the teams still left, what's the best gym to shoot at?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Good question.
Thank you.
It's a good question.
Good question.
All right, let's go through. Honestly, Miami is notoriously good shooting gym.
Really?
I mean, it's always warm, so like you don't have to worry about loosening up and getting warm and
Right.
like worrying about any of that. The basketballs are always soft, good basketballs. The rims feel soft. It's the humidity.
Yeah.
Like when the ball hits the rim, it's got a little better chance of going in.
Yeah.
Miami's a good one. Phoenix isn't a bad one.
Dry heat.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of some more.
Is there a bad one?
Honestly, I want to say Minnesota, but like I shot well there this year, so I don't know if
Maybe
that's
not so bad.
Yeah, maybe it's not so bad. It's Staples Center. Sorry, Crypto Arena's good shooting gym.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You
Kinda
like it
dark
when
backgrounds,
the dark
everything is-
backgrounds, you
yeah,
like
I
that?
love
Yeah.
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 Is there any
fan.
truth to like it, when you watch in the not the NCAA tournament, but a lot of times some of the smaller schools are playing in gyms that have the backs that are closer to the backboard? Like, does that give you better
like the
depth
high
perception?
school gym,
Yeah, like the high school
back
gym
up,
type vibe.
or just like one row of bleachers. kinda?
Yeah.
Yeah, is that easier?
That's a good question.
I always felt like that would help with depth perception when there's like.
Dude, honestly, I haven't
behind
played a
it.
gym like that in so long. I don't
Yeah,
know.
our gym, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah,
right
we'll
here.
take a couple shots after.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can put you on the gun and
Yeah.
check your stats.
Yeah.
Might
Yeah.
be better.
What about
like
so like going forward in the playoffs is like back to or not there's no back-to-backs, but it's every other day. Is there real like does it really feel like you get later in a series and you start your body wears down, or is it like we're already here, we're used to this, it's fine? Because like even game 7's like you'll see the basketball will not be the best basketball. That might just be teams are tight, but like how does it feel going through a deep playoff run?
No, it's definitely. I mean, it gets to you. Obviously, the only really deep playoff run I've had was with the
Bubble,
Lakers.
yeah.
Yeah, bubble. So, but like,
Didn't
so the
count,
travel,
yeah.
the travel didn't affect us. But like by the second series, into the second series, you know you're tired.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and you just got to fight through
And
it.
even having like, so imagine finishing that. I mean, I think back to our series against the Bucks. We played them. Like I remember after the first game, I was taking charges on Giannis. Like I was like in the mix late in the game, and then we come back and like I remember the drive home from Milwaukee to Chicago. I was just looking out of the window. I was like, "Fuck, I'm tired, dude."
Yeah,
That was a lot.
because just at a different level.
Yeah,
you feel
I mean,
the
it's
different
just-
level.
There's no like think about the last 5 minutes of a close game in the regular season, the whole game.
Yeah,
Like
Mhm.
it's as hard as you can go, basically the whole 48 minutes.
yeah,
Yeah. Have you reached the point where you're starting to like take better care of your body? Players always talk
Yeah.
about that. Like after you're in the league for so long, you realize what you can and can't do.
Mhm.
I know a lot of, I forget who was saying this in an interview, but he was saying like at morning shoot around or like a morning workout, half the guys would just smell like liquor because they were like sweating out the night before, essentially, like getting back into shape. At what point did you have to change the way either you partied a little bit or any of that other stuff because you realized you couldn't recover the same way you used to?
Yeah, honestly, the last couple years, just playing more minutes. Like when I was in LA, I was playing max 20 minutes. Maybe getting to like the mid 20s if I'm playing really good some game because we had so many guys, and so I didn't realize how much of a grind really the season was. And then I got Chicago, playing 30 minutes a night the first season, and it's like, oh shit, like when we play 4 games in 6 days, and you're playing 25-30 minutes plus, it's like at the end of that third game on the back-to-back in the third game, you're like, oh shit, like I need to get in the cold tub, like I need to do this.
Yeah.
And that was part of the reason this year I think I had such a good year on the court. You know, I played 70-something games, like 29 minutes, 30 minutes a night. Was just the routine, you know, like I was on top of, like, you know, all the shit that people talk about, hydration, nutrition. I was cold tubbing every time we had to, like on the road, wearing my recovery tights. Like I just found a good rhythm.
What are recovery tights?
They're basically just like ankle to thigh, just full body like recovery
Just
tights.
a giant compression sleeve?
Yeah, basically.
I love those because those are you see people like in compression sleeves or the leggings, and it's like either NBA athlete or diabetes. There's like no in between. Those are the only two
Just the
reasons
two-
you'd wear them.
those are
Yeah,
the two
the
avenues
biggest
to go
ends of
down.
the spectrum you could find.
Maybe going on a long plane ride,
Yeah,
trying to increase your
Yeah,
circulation.
yeah,
you
but it's
fly
just
into
like
China
there's
or
nothing
something.
really. It's like one or the other.
Yeah, that's fair. I
Yeah.
never thought about that.
Yeah.
How did you decide to become a compression sleeve guy? Did you try out different things? Like Luka's wearing all sorts of shit all over his body. Have you tried out wearing like different sleeves, different parts of your body?
Yeah, dude, I have teammates that make fun of me. I wear the most stuff out of anybody. Like I have and I don't wear those padded compression shorts
On the hip,
from,
yeah.
from these companies, because they don't actually protect like the joints in your bones. Like it's on your thigh and like below your tailbone. So I wear like snowboard pads.
Oh, really?
So when I like fall, take charges and stuff, like that's what I'm falling on. I got knee pads on.
Yeah.
I wore the arm sleeve this year because at first, like I hyperextended my elbow a little bit and my elbow was messed up. So I wore that to like keep it tight. And then sure enough, fell on my elbow enough times during the season, wore a padded one towards the end of the year. Like I got a lot going on.
Yeah.
Mhm. I like the knee pads, although I feel like a lot of players don't wear those. Like it would be like maybe restrictive.
No, not restrictive.
No?
No. Because by the time, I mean, you're not wearing like, you know, it's not like the weightlifting, like, you know, the powerlifting knee pads where it's like your leg has to stay straight. Like they're pretty movable.
The ankle braces, I'm surprised. Those are restrictive, I would assume, because like no one
Yeah,
wears.
I tape. I don't wear the ankle braces.
Like Grayson Allen wears the thick ones.
I think Steph wears them.
Yep.
Aaron Fox wears them.
Yeah. It looks like Forrest Gump.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the ankle braces. I'm a tape guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta have that movement. All right, I got one last question. Rowback question. RHOBACK.com, promo code TAKE. 20% off your first purchase. Q-zips, polos, hoodies, joggers, shorts. Thank you, Alex, for coming in. I know you're going on summer break, so I'm happy that you're able to come in. Whenever you're back, you got to golf, and you also, like, we learn more about basketball with you around. I think we're going to give you a key card next year.
That'd be
so you
great,
can just
yeah.
come and golf whenever and beat the fuck out of Hank, which actually, I might just have that be like, we just have it on the schedule.
Its own side.
Like Hank gets
side
his ass kicked. Yeah.
Gets rid of cocky Hank.
Yeah, we can just shove him down. Be like, you're still not good
What if
enough.
Hank just gets really good?
Nah,
No.
nah.
Unlikely.
He has gotten a lot better, but nah, I'm not really worried about that.
Okay.
So the young teams, I know everyone's like, oh well, the Nuggets look like the best team in the West. They're the defending champs. The Celtics, Hank already has Celtics Nuggets in the finals, but the young teams of the Thunder, the Wolves, the Pacers. I guess you throw the Knicks in there, just not.
Are the Wolves that young of a team?
I'm saying more like young in terms of success.
Got you.
So like, yeah, I mean the
Okay, got
Thunder confuse it because they are literally the youngest team.
postseason.
Yeah, like the deep run
Experience
teams.
success, yeah.
Which team do you think has the best chance to potentially do like a crazy how do they get to the finals run?
It's crazy. I mean, the wording of that is tough too. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's like how do they get to the finals? But like literally, the West had 3 number 1 seeds this year.
Right.
It's like the Thunder and the Wolves and Denver went back and forth till the
Yeah, they were a
last week
game
of the season.
apart. Yeah.
Based on the first couple games, I don't think the Pelicans were a true test for OKC, so it's tough to say with them. But based on how Minnesota's playing, I'd say the T-Wolves.
Yeah.
Just
It does
because-
feel
Ant feels ready for the moment. Like he doesn't feel like he shies away, make, miss, and he's indifferent. Like he just is go mode. I like Mike Conley. I like McDaniels. I like the pieces. Like I like how their team fits for the postseason.
yeah.
During the regular season, night in, night out, depending on matchups, it's not great. But for the postseason, I think they match up with a lot of teams really well.
What about the Pacers? Because they are like they haven't. I think this would be the first series the Pacers have won in a long time. and they play a style that's like fun to watch. They fast. They got a bunch of athletes.
I think it's the same thing though with the Thunder, like Bucks without Giannis, and then also Dame missed tonight, and Bobby got ejected. So like, I'm not taking anything away from them because like you still got to go out there and play the games, and they're playing well, and they beat them earlier in the season too. So it's not like it's completely out of the ordinary for that. But I don't know, dude. The way they play, it makes it hard too because we had success against them this year.
Yeah.
So I don't understand. I don't understand how the other teams struggle with them when it's just like, all right, get back in transition. Pretty much, I say take care of, but like guard Halliburton, guard Siakam. You got a pretty good recipe for success. But I guess we just matched up with them well.
Yeah.
I don't know who would they play in the second round if they advance.
They would play the Knicks, Sixers.
Yeah. Don't love that for them.
Yeah. So I mean, the T-Wolves are good because you're right. Like the Pacers have been impressive, but they are playing against.
I think there's just more question marks around the other teams.
Right. Mm-hmm. Whereas the Wolves have just, I know they're playing right now, but like the first 3 games, they've completely dismantled the Suns.
Just nothing special either. Like they're just going out there and guarding, playing on offense, going home.
Yeah.
And for us, because we're not the smartest basketball minds in the world, when we're watching the Suns on paper, the Suns should be good. They should, I think. I mean, they have a big 3. They put together a big 3. What is it about the team that has just looked so disjointed, so just like frustrating to watch? What is the reason why they're struggling despite having so much talent?
Yeah, I think they're missing a point guard, like a lead guard, like
Chris
somebody. Paul. I think they're missing somebody to organize everything, to take some of the pressure off these other guys, to bring the ball up, to through a playoff series like we talked about, 7 games. If you have to work as hard as they have to work to get shots up, and especially against the Timberwolves, so much length, like you're not just getting layups at the rim, and now you're asking them to bring the ball up and to organize stuff and to make decisions. It's just a lot.
Yeah.
And I feel like a couple of the games that I've watched, it just looks like whenever the energy's high and the game's kind of crazy, like they need to be able to throw the ball to somebody, put it under their arm, and like, all right, go get in the corner, run this play, do this, and kind of calm everything down. And they don't have a stable force.
Yeah, it's even. I mean, the Mavs Clippers game was so incredible to watch because you had like James Harden and Kyrie just trading in the fourth quarter. It's like this is
and it was just like, all right, we got the ball, and it's like get to your spot, come set the screen.
Right. It's either I'm going to get a great shot or someone else is going to get a great shot. All right. Well, thanks so much, Alex. Enjoy your summer. Good luck with golf.
Appreciate that.
Whenever you're back, you're welcome to come by. I want you to just beat Hank every single time. We should just get it like 100 matches.
Hank, what's your best round ever?
I shot at 86 a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Was
pretty good
though.
Yeah.
Was it an 86?
Yeah, from the whites.
Were you keeping no gimmies?
No gimmies.
No mulligans?
No mulligans.
No breakfast balls?
Maybe breakfast.
Oh, okay.
No gimmies at all?
No.
Not a single gimme.
The people you were playing with, were they like,
ball
hey,
and cup, that's
pick that
a
up?
good number. Ball and cup, that's a good number.
Okay. Good job, Hank.
I shot a 72 at Shinnecock once.
I think I know about that.
Yeah.
And then
people talk about it coast to coast.
Yeah. No erasers on the.
Yeah, well, listen, you can shoot whatever you want. You just got to fill it out.
No.
Yeah,
Just
it's
sign
very easy.
Score's a mindset.
Yeah. You
could feel like you shot a
You want me to go to
72.
Pebble Beach tomorrow
Who did
and
you
shoot a
tweet? You tweeted that
65?
at somebody.
I tweeted, and actually JJ Reddick texted me. He was like, dude, I didn't know you're a stick. We got to get out together.
Yeah,
I was
you're like
dude,
in my mind.
I skipped like 7 holes.
I did that
I
one
just
time.
gave up.
I did that one time with a scorecard where I had 3 zeros on my card.
Yeah.
And I was like, pretty good, right? Almost broke 100.
Yeah. Yeah, just skip
Those
a
are the
hole.
best holes sometimes, though. You just get your drink.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
It was crazy. I actually did enjoy, though, the like hour of people like reaching out, being like, holy shit, dude,
Yeah,
you're a really
just-
good golfer.
Yeah, no.
And I was like, this is awesome. Like, everyone respects me now.
It's like announcing you're having a kid and then posting a 72 at Shinnecock, you get probably the same amount of text from people being like,
isn't
dude,
it
congrats,
weird
that's
how much
awesome.
people care about
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
you play
crazy.
good golf. It's
No,
like, oh, dude,
dude,
congrats.
I remember, like, it
Your
wasn't
cancer.
yeah, it wasn't a ton of people, but JJ texted me and was like, we got to go out. And then Justin Thomas texted me. He's like, dude, I didn't know you had that game. And I was like, I don't.
Did they revoke the invitation?
Yeah, they were just like,
it wasn't real.
They're
That's
like,
the thing, like,
never mind. I'm never golfing
tough.
with you.
Yeah.
The internet gets a bad rap sometimes for golf losers that will correct anything in your swing, like if you post a swing online. But what I found is the golf community is like actually very, very supportive. If you shoot like what you think is a
if you're
decent
good,
score, you get. I mean, even like if I break 100 and I post the scorecard, there's so many people that are like, dude, that's awesome. Congrats. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
You don't hear about those people as much as you hear the losers.
True.
Like you need to open up your swing more at the point
Nobody
of impact.
cares about those people.
Yeah.
Those guys.
I felt loved.
Yeah,
I got to do it
They
again.
don't love the game. They love it for themselves.
exactly. Yeah.
Wait, what's your best score?
I've shot a 2 over 73 and a 74. So on a par
Okay.
71 and a
So
par
not
70.
72 at Shinnecock.
No.
Okay.
You got me.
All right,
beat. I
hey,
haven't shot
listen, you
72.
can always dream. You can always dream.
I'm playing Tuesday. I'm gonna shoot 71. And text it to you.
Okay.
Have you got a hole in one?
Yeah, I got one.
Is it on film?
It's recorded on my phone that the ball was in the hole and the people.
So
I was
that's a
playing.
no.
That's
So
a
that's a
no.
no.
I don't play YouTube golf. I don't know what you want me to do.
It's true.
I
True. Our
don't-
standard
yeah.
is very
Maybe
tough.
we should. Maybe that's the next, that's my summer
You
job.
don't want to be the guy who every single
Digital
par
info.
3 you're like, hey, take out your phone,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
I might do it this time.
Yeah.
Never even close. You just start topping it.
We did that in Arizona. We went to we played the TPC at Scottsdale.
Yeah.
And we hit a par 3. Everybody brought their cameras out.
Which one was the famous one? 16.
No, we did that on 16 too, but I think it was like I don't know 7 or something on the
Okay.
front 9.
Yeah.
And I hit my shot, and the ball went directly to the right, bounced off a tree, and went backwards.
Tough shit.
And then they're like, "Okay, try it again." And I did the exact same thing where the ball went backwards. And having somebody film you like you're expecting to get a hole in one, and have it turn out that badly.
Did they
is so
know what
funny.
kind of golfer you were?
Oh yeah, they had played 7 holes with me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I had the video. We'll post the video.
Yeah. But yeah, hole in one. So you haven't really got it.
Yeah,
yet.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Sorry.
Not. Yeah,
we
sorry.
we won't allow it.
I got one asterisk, like the championship. It's a
Yeah, right.
one ring.
Right. You feel like you're a champion when you go to bed at night. We don't.
Correct.
Yeah, you got a bubble hole in one.
It's like yes, there.
Yeah.
I got a bubble one.
Yeah.
Would that be the biggest scumbag move of all time if you lied and said that you got a hole in one? Like at the end of your round, you like post online.
Yeah,
Got
no,
my
that's-
first hole in
yeah,
one.
Well, I've
that's-
done
that's-
that.
Well,
on your
how
round.
did you make that round?
I have done just random like scorecards. I'll just throw a 1 out there.
And then people.
It was like, holy
oh,
shit.
dude.
But somebody doing it seriously, I think that might be the saddest thing ever.
Oh, it would definitely be the saddest.
if
thing.
Well,
somebody-
it's like I feel like that's got to be bad karma too. Like you will never make one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember the story. This dude I found on the internet. He like was new to golf, came in, told his grandpa that he was like, "How'd your round go?" He's like, "Oh, it was great. Like I made a hole in one and blah blah blah." And his grandpa was like so excited for him. He didn't make a hole in one. He was just like, bullshitting with him. Didn't have the heart to tell him. Day later he comes back. Guy made him a plaque
Oh.
with the ball. The hole, what hole it was, the yardage. gave it
Oh
to him.
no.
Guy's grandpa dies before he can tell him.
Oh,
Never-
that's actually better.
He said he's never gonna make one in his life. I'm like, yeah,
No chance.
that's the perfect jinx.
Yeah.
But hey, Grandpa's dead and he thought you had a hole in one. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I guess for him it's
Yeah.
yeah.
The grandpa gets to heaven, and I always imagine that when you get to heaven, you've got like DVR for life.
Well,
when you
give
can
him a lot of
watch
credit.
anybody.
We don't know these people's morals. We
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, but I would imagine that he's like, I want to go see my grandson's hole in one.
Yeah.
It's rewind, and he's like, what the hell? What the hell has he done?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now he's up in heaven, pissed off for the rest of his life.
Yeah. All right, Caruso, thank you so much.
Yep.
We'll see you soon.
Yep, I'll be back soon.
Caruso was brought to you by Morgan & Morgan. It's America's largest injury law firm. They have over 100 offices nationwide, more than 1,000 lawyers. With over $20 billion recovered for over 500,000 clients, Morgan & Morgan has a proven track record of fighting to get you full and fair compensation. Submitting an injury claim with Morgan & Morgan is so easy. Being there for your team, home playoff game, sometimes not that easy. You know what's easy? Filing a claim with Morgan & Morgan. Submitting an injury claim is so easy. If you're ever injured, check out Morgan & Morgan. If you get injured playing on a basketball court and you have to miss a game, guess what? Morgan & Morgan, they'll be there for you. Their fee is free unless they win. Check out Morgan & Morgan today. For more information, go to forthepeople.com/PMT, or you can dial pound law, pound 529 from your cell phone. That's forthepeople.com/PMT, or pound law, pound 529 from your cell. This is a paid advertisement.
Okay, let's wrap up the show. The Minnesota Timberwolves are going to the second round in a 4-game sweep, which is shocking in the fact that it was, I think before the series, it was even money on both sides. Who would win that series? And the Timberwolves just dismantled the Phoenix Suns. Their defense is so good. Anthony Edwards is a star rising up the charts. He is that dude. I'm happy for Minnesota. They've won a series. They're going on. I think this is – I got to check this. I think this might be, other than the year Kevin Garnett took them to the Western Conference Finals, I think this is the first time they've won a series.
Is it really?
I believe so. I'm going to look it up.
That would be shocking if true.
I'm pretty sure.
Just because it feels like we talk about the Wolves being in and around the postseason.
But they haven't won series.
The play-in game.
Yeah, playing
They
game.
haven't won series.
Play-in
Here we go.
series.
Minnesota Timberwolves playoff history. Let's see. I am 100% correct.
Wow.
Kevin Garnett year, they went to the Western Conference Finals. Other than that, in their franchise history, which started in 1989-1990 season, they have not won a playoff series. So congrats to Timberwolves. That's awesome.
That is very
That's
cool.
big.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, you should enjoy this. To everyone in Minnesota, your sports history has just been so tortured and so painful. This is big.
That's a crazy stat.
It's big, and it's also not a fluke that you dominate
No.
the Suns. You're really, really good, and I have to think that they're going to be. I guess they could match up well against the Nuggets, right? Like their defense is incredible.
I don't think they matched up well against the Nuggets in the regular season, but I don't think that matters because I think the Suns matched up well against the Timberwolves in the regular season. So who the fuck cares?
Yeah, their team defense is unreal.
Yeah, Anthony Edwards is him. Congrats to the that's huge. I mean, they've been building, they've been flirting with it. Now they have gone to the next round. They're a team on the rise. That's fucking awesome.
On the other side of it, time to blow up the Suns.
Okay, so a couple Suns stats.
They might be unblow-upable.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be very hard. So
I think blowing up the Suns is like fire the coach, even though it's his first season.
Matt Ishbia, this has maybe been one of the greatest like rich guy buys a team who thinks he's the smartest guy in the world, does a bunch of all-in moves and it blows up in record time.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've seen it time and time again. This happens all the time. Remember when Prokhorov with the Nets, like anytime a new owner shows up, they're like, we got to win right now. I want to do everything right now. The Suns have 0 playoff wins this season. They have 0 first-round picks from 2025 to 2030. They have 0 second-round picks from 2024 to 2030.
Okay, so
Let me say it
I'm
again.
trying to think how you're going to get good players.
They have 1 pick
Yeah.
in the NBA draft between now and 2031.
Mm-hmm.
1 single pick. That's insane. They have Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and Devin Booker. They've also, think about it. They were 2 games away. They were up 2-0 on the Bucks, and everything that has happened since then has been an all-out disaster.
Yeah, it's been very painful.
And they deserve a lot more blame than they get. I think they just kind of snake by. They should be shamed for the way they've gone out.
Yeah, so today I think KD had 33 points.
Yep.
Book had 47 points.
Yep. They went out. They tried.
Bradley Beal, 9 points. Bradley Beal also, no trade clause, like we said, and he's getting, I think, $50 million a year for the next 3 seasons. So I don't know how you blow this team up.
No, I mean, they got to hope that someone wants to trade for Kevin Durant, or Kevin Durant says he wants to be traded. Kevin Durant, it's getting on the ugly side of his career in terms of, I know that he had that one, which I mentioned at the beginning of the show, the one season where he almost single-handedly took the Nets to beat the Bucks in that Game 7 where his foot was on the line. But other than that, this has not been a fun few years since he left Golden State. Also, the Suns have not won a playoff game since Matt Ishbia took a flop against Jokic.
Yeah, that was a big flop.
So they've lost 6 straight games.
But remember Suns in 4 year?
Suns in 4 year was fun.
That's fun.
Yeah, I don't know what that's I mean, Kevin Durant now with the Nets and the Suns He's completely destroyed two franchises.
I don't know that you can say he destroyed the Nets.
Well, he went there. He brought Kyrie. Kyrie obviously had a large part of it, but then he was like, I need to get out of here.
Yeah.
And it's not like the Nets are trying to rebuild, but they went all in with Kevin Durant, and then he's like 2 years later was like, get me the fuck out of here.
Yeah. I mean,
and he's going to do the same thing for the Suns.
That entire experiment in Brooklyn was just, I think there were three big reasons why it didn't work.
Right, but it did feel like he was the one who was putting it all together.
Yeah.
And it didn't work.
But this experiment also, did not work.
Yeah, so Kevin Durant, I think the only move he has is hope the Thunder will take him and they can win a title.
I don't know, maybe it's coming home. Maybe bring him back to D.C.
Yeah, I don't know. This was a crazy. They just absolutely dismantled them. The Wolves are just so much better, and now the Suns are. If you're Matt Ishbia, what do you do? That shot of him on Friday night when they zoomed in, and he was just like the saddest guy in the world. I don't know what you do. You bought this team. You thought you were like, I'm going to get my big three. We're going to win a championship. Look at me. I'm the smart guy. And it's just all gone to shit.
So let's go into the big bag of tricks of what a billionaire owner would do, like someone that's new to the business. You tried going all in. You tried putting together a super team. That's not working. Now I feel like you got to go to your superstars and see who they want as the coach.
Yeah.
Right? And then you hire whoever your superstar says, and then that doesn't work out. And then now you've learned two big lessons in your first couple seasons.
Yeah.
Right? But I feel like this is the exact time in a new owner's life where he becomes tries to be best friends with his stars.
Yep.
And then gives them whatever they want. And then they're going to be unhappy regardless of what happens, 1.5 years from now tops.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the book.
Yeah, that's the book. He's, oh man. And he was doing his, he had his kids around him, I think tonight, just maybe soften the blow. Hey, Internet, don't make fun of me as much. My kids are here.
Yeah. Bradley Beal did say, I've never been swept a day in my life, so I'll be damned if that happens.
Ooh. I do. No, actually, no. I was going to say I respect Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, not just folding in the first quarter, but no, I don't. I actually don't. I don't respect.
You don't respect that?
No, I don't. I don't respect the Suns at all. I'm not going to give the Suns any compliments.
Okay, that's
I don't
fair.
think they deserve a single compliment. All the compliments go to the Wolves.
The gorilla was cool. I love the gorilla.
The gorilla is cool, but yeah, the Wolves are a complete team. I do think they can give the Nuggets a series. I think they can win that series.
Yeah, I mean,
why not?
You have to think that Gobert against Jokic is as good as it can get against Jokic, right?
Yeah, and I think we'll have we're gonna have both. We're gonna have one game where Anthony Edwards probably shoots 2 for 18, but then we're also gonna have a game where Anthony Edwards is the best player on the court.
Yeah,
and he just dominates because he is that guy. I fucking love him. We got to get him on PMT. Have to get him on PMT. Oh, maybe Tom Crean.
Yeah,
can help us get him.
Yeah, Tom Crean. He's a Tom Crean guy.
He's a Tom Crean disciple. Okay. Let's finish up the show. Just want to give a quick shout out to all the listeners who had my back on Friday, and they're like, "This is what America's about." This sad loser that is Max tried to take one away from you, and then you just through hard work beat him. It was incredible. Everyone was like, "This is what America's about."
Yeah. Is there any additional pressure on you, Max?
Oh, there's so much pressure on him.
Is there any pressure on you?
No, he's gonna get.
No,
it.
I'm gonna get it.
Yeah.
Max,
I'm just going to continue to ask you every time this question is asked towards me.
Okay, and I'm gonna say I'm going to get. Yeah,
I'll say the same thing. I'm going to get
I'm
it
gonna
too.
get
but no one believes you.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna get it maybe this time.
Okay, let's see.
You know what? Maybe work hard like I did.
I've been thinking about getting it this time.
I made a promise. I'm the anti-Bradley Beal. I made a promise and I delivered. So shout out all the people. And they even Hank and Max tried to take my joy away when Caleb Williams said he was number 18. It was so sad. It was nasty work. You were being a nasty boy on Thursday.
There was a lot of things said about him being 13.
You were being a
matching up.
nasty boy.
You did follow me around the entire office and be like, "Hey, I got 13, Caleb Williams' number."
Because it was when I followed you around the office. What time was I following?
There
you
was
around the
also a
office?
time where I asked you a question. I was like, "Is that going to be his number in the NFL?" And
I
he's
said,
like, "Yeah."
probably.
No, you said, "Yeah." He's already said that that's going to be his number.
You know, I was thinking about like how awesome would it be to be a punter on a team and then you draft a guy and then he has to pay you like $40,000 for your jersey.
Yeah, if you're
Like,
like
if I-
you got to pick a team number to try to
Yeah.
get a wide receiver or quarterback.
Like if you were a Browns punter in the 2000s or 2010s, I would change my number every year looking at who the hot quarterback prospects were going to be coming out of next year's draft.
Yeah.
Try to camp on their number so that way when Johnny Manziel comes in, you're like, got to buy,
Yeah.
got to pay up.
Shit, that's a good point.
It's a good line of work to be in.
Yeah, imagine if there was, if someone, because Keenan Allen is number 13, and Caleb Williams, great teammate, was like, no, he's a future Hall of Famer. Got to give him the number. But imagine if someone on the Bears had gone 13, sold it to Keenan Allen, then went 18, sold it to Caleb Williams.
Yeah, you flip it.
Oh,
Now you're flipping jerseys.
ROI.
If you're a punter or a kicker in the NFL, reach out to us. We're happy to consult with you and tell you what jersey number you should switch to ahead of next season.
Yeah. Okay. Max, have you ever gotten this?
PFT, have you ever gotten this?
I asked the question
I'm about
to
to.
you, Max.
I asked the question to PFT.
Okay, but
I
answer my question.
I have not gotten it yet. PFT, have you gotten it yet?
I'm about to.
Okay.
Max, will you pick my number for me today?
No.
Please?
No.
I want
No.
you to,
I will not.
because I could probably win with your number, too. I want to show you.
I'm not going to do that.
Okay. Numbers.
20.
3. There's a ball up top.
Yep.
6.
Let's
What's
see.
6?
I'll do 18.
Lucky number.
Oh, Jake's going to be so mad if you get it,
Oh,
Max.
he's doing it for Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
I know, but Jake's going to be mad regardless.
I gotta think because I'm hot. I'm 1 for 1 in the last one. You know what?
99 pug.
There you go, Pug.
Max, when you looked in there, was 20 in there?
Right. It was right next to 13.
Yeah.
That was a sad moment when Max was pawing through
Oh,
the balls.
so he's like, is 20 even in here? I can fucking find this. I can't see it. I'll go 67.
21.
That was Shane. Max, did you have any losers try to say I looked this time?
Nope.
Yeah, you probably tried. You probably were Twitter searching.
I didn't even look.
Memes.
I never wanted to look at that moment again.
Memes, did you say 3 or are you just holding your hand up?
I said 3, but I'm
This is a
holding
pod-
up.
all right, okay.
Do it every time. It's going to hit.
99 Pug, the guy
99
stays
Pug.
hot. Holy shit, Pug.
Let's
This
go,
is
Pug.
too much, Pug.
Oh, my God.
This is too much, Pug. You're so fucking good at this.
So much better than Max.
Max, is that your 3rd time?
Yeah, it's coming like clockwork now.
Great job, Pug.
Pug, you're a fucking beast, dude.
I don't know what to say. Just
How do you do it?
right place, right time. Pug.
Oh, congrats, Pug. I'm happy. I'm gonna be happy for anyone except Max, because Max is never gonna get it. Max, you ever got it?
You'll get it one day, man.
Oh no!
Cheap laughs out of Pug right now.
Oh no!
Buy a
But
shirt.
No, the real
Pug.
laugh.
Buy,
the real
yeah,
laughs.
buy a 99 pug shirt. Pug.
Love you guys.